I've been doing a lot of research on nonverbal communication. It's so important. You can beat the shit out of somebody mentally with the right look, but you can also build people up. You can diffuse situations, inspire people. You could be the dude on time every day and have the worst nonverbal communication and destroy yourself. Then you could be the person who's like, show up for work late 2 hours every day. People will still be like, man, we gotta keep that dude, he rules.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to episode 55 of Ruse Radio. We're back at it again.
Motherfucking 55.
Crazy. Cannot believe it's going on, but it's happening, guys. Who's with me today? Crazy guest we got here. Who is it?
My name is SETH STOLZ.
All right.
Artist from Flint and local from Flint, Michigan. And a fellow neighbor that I just found out.
Yeah,
it's pretty rad.
We met at Tenacity Brewing, which is a beautiful place. We'll hear more about that pretty soon here in the podcast. But there, we met each other, and it was unbeknownst to us that we live within a half mile of one another. We just realized this after probably about like 5 months.
I was like, who the fuck is this dude standing on the fireplace being all cool with his rap songs and shit like that?
That was your first impression of
I
me.
was like, this motherfucker rules.
That's funny. That's funny.
I was like, all right, man, I see you.
For those that don't know, I performed at Tenacity Brewing at an open mic. That was when Seth first saw me.
I was just coming out to serve beers, and I seen this dude up on our fireplace just dropping knowledge. I was like, yo, that's dope.
Thank you.
Bam.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And tell the people about your music a little bit because they probably, if they're watching this, they may have never heard it.
Yep.
How would you describe it?
It's mostly nowadays. It's basically alternative. I'm like super obsessed with like early electronica type stuff. Very, very into like the matriarchs, especially of the electronica movement. The very beginning of it, like the 50s to the 70s, like Kraftwerk and a bunch of really obscure, weird ladies that made the craziest, weirdest stuff. So I've been like really super into electronica music, but my roots are like hip hop and stuff like that. So there's always kind of going to be an element of that hip hop kind of feel.
Yeah,
it's like
is that
it's like electronica, indie, hip hop.
Interesting.
Ish kind of stuff.
I feel like indie and hip hop have kind of come together a lot recently too.
Like in like a not over pretentious way. You know? Like a more of a just try to keep the balance between all three of them. Give people what they want.
How does one keep the balance? Like what are you drawing from hip hop and what are you drawing from indie and what are the different things what are the different elements you think that you're pulling?
90% of the time I wonder to myself, like I was just thinking about this actually yesterday. I was like, yo, like why the fudge am I making music? Like why do I make music? And like I'm like not really trying to like become famous or anything like that. I don't even know if I could go on tour. I don't know how that would be. I don't know how it would be to even be. I think it'd be so weird to fucking be famous.
I think you're overthinking it, though.
I mean, maybe
if you're making
I am.
music, you're making music. It's
but
simple as that.
I will never not make music. It makes me happy. And
so you're
love
thinking about like the
process.
end goal, then, is what you're saying.
And yeah, so I've been less wrapped up in that so much in my life, like the whole idea of. Because when I was younger, it was always like, oh, I want to get signed, dude. That's like the ultimate thing. Like some validation in this cool stuff I'm doing, and like make money as being a musician.
Well, I think the veil has been lifted over that whole ruse, if I might say. Just because I feel like it used to be the thing where that was the thing that every artist wanted to do, and then nowadays everybody kind of knows like a lot of those contracts aren't
kind
exactly
of a snare and a racket almost, and it like kind of throws you into this thing where like everything loses its meaning.
Yes, like imagine someone telling you have to make 5 albums within 6 years, and then the way the contract works, you're not even going to make that much money off of it.
And then you're borrowing money, and then like you give them an album and they're like, this album fucking sucks. And you put like your heart and soul into it and you love it. Like I wouldn't be able to do that or be like, you gotta play. I don't know, man.
And they're giving you pressure too, where it's
So I
like,
respect people who are famous, man, and shit, but I really don't want to do that anymore. So I feel like my whole thing has changed to just taking the things that I really love about music, whether it's De La Soul, Mos Def, A$AP Rock, everything from hip hop, like all the cool fucking old break beats and shit like that. Massive Attack, Portishead, all those bands that just are rad people, like rad bands, and trying to steal from them like an artist.
I think a lot of the creative process is stealing, whether we can admit it or not, though.
Yeah, I just got done reading a book called Steal Like an Artist, and it's like the whole thing is, it's not like, there's a way to do it. You get inspired by artists, and then you take some of their inspiration and you make it your own. There's a difference between stealing and plagiarizing.
Well, I like to think of it as everything is a remix.
Yeah. Everything is. I mean, everything's kind of been done. There's really nothing new under the sun, but yeah, it's just trying to figure out how to adapt it to your own shit. Like, how do you want to do it?
Yeah.
And like, what is your like salad from all of these different inspirations?
What is your salad?
Yeah, what's your
folks?
salad, yo? What's your salad?
That's a great question. We should make a T-shirt for
Hell
that
yeah.
one. Because that, I mean, that really is a deep statement when you put it that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
what
what's
is your salad?
Yeah,
what
like,
are you
what's your
pulling
like,
together?
what is your salad? Yeah, like your custom salad, your chef salad, as
Yeah.
far as music goes.
You got tomatoes in there. You got onions. What's going on?
Yeah.
What kind of flavors are we?
Yeah, so like all my my music is basically like a lot of anything from like Interpol, Joy Division, Modest Mouse. I like super sarcastic indie shit, so a lot of my stuff is pretty sarcastic lyrically. I just kind of like to talk about the absolute ludicrousness of our existence in this world these days, and all the funny little things that I see in life, just the weird stuff. So I take a lot of that from the indie, and then I really love the just like the creativeness and the what's it called?
Redundancy?
Like listening to like A$AP Rock.
Yeah.
Or even like listening to you, or like listening to Eminem. Like that you can't just do that. Like you gotta practice that shit, man. You gotta do that. You gotta do that over and over. You gotta muscle memory that shit in your brain, dude, to be able to do it the way that y'all do it.
I heard somebody say
So
the
it's
other
like,
day. It was.
I've always really got.
I was
by
listening
that.
to a podcast and someone was saying that he heard some singer talking inside of a restaurant and their voice was just such a presence.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he just kind of realized, like, that's the end product of the person's craft. Like, you're only seeing the end product.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not
You
seeing
didn't see
all
all
that
the
stuff.
work and all the stress that went through, like getting it to the point where it's like this beautiful package that you get to have.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And that's
And
a
there's so
beautiful
much.
thing, you know,
Yeah.
for people to do that. You know, that's what I think all musicians and artists try to do as much as possible. But there's a lot of painstake and a lot of stuff. So I respect that a lot with hip hop, like just that whole like on point cadences, really really good timing, vocally and shit like that.
For me, it's a lot of it's the lyricism you can
And the
find
lyricism,
in hip hop. I think
yeah.
that there's just something that happens. That's why people ask me, like what's your
those
favorite
bars
music
that
to listen to?
Hear that one line and you're just like, God damn, 47. All right, bet. That was so dope. Why did I think of that? You know? Like,
Of course.
God damn. Like, shit.
And like those
But
bars,
it's like,
it's like the ones that make you do that stink
damn.
face, you know?
Yeah, you're like,
it's-
oh my God, this motherfucker just said that, didn't he? That's
to me,
great.
it stimulates like
I
that
love it.
creative part of my brain.
Yeah, it makes me
where-
work harder.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, somebody can
what
do
did
that.
I think of? That's
Exactly.
clever. Yeah. So yeah, that, and then I've just like been super freaking obsessed with just like craft work and that really like simple stripped down like do 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 type stuff like and then just like real simple synths and heavy bass lines and stuff. So it's kind of like a
That's reminiscent of, I would say, like old school hip hop in a way.
yeah, and like very like old, early electronica, like the birth of electronica stuff, where like electronic artists were fighting against like the musician union to even be considered music.
Really?
Electronic music being considered music. So like, yeah.
Imagine them hearing Skrillex. They'd be like, what? What is this?
Yeah. Like, there's this really, really nice documentary called Sisters with Transistors that I just watched. And it's basically like the birth of like the matriarchs of electronic music.
When you say matriarchs, what do you mean?
Like the women, these women who just made these, like, I do a lot of very crazy, weird, like, put a lot of synths together, daisy chain stuff, and try to do as much as I can analog, but try to keep it, like, really interesting, both aesthetically and the sound, for it to be really interesting to hear and also interesting to kind of see. Like, what the fuck is this dude doing? He's got a typewriter hooked up to a guitar, like, something like that. Like, playing with water with some kind of weird gadget that's connected to the water that's making noise. How?
It adds novelty to it. Yeah.
It just has that, like, cool aspect. Now, that's rad. These women, back in the late 50s, were making theremins and sound generators that were like twice the size of this room.
Wow.
And patch cable.
Oh, the routing must have been wild.
Oh my god, dude, it was insane, dude. To just see it, I got so mesmerized by that whole thing that I was just like, that is so freaking cool. It was like the birth of understanding sound waves.
Wow, that's
Controlled
true, because
voltage.
now all that's happening inside of an emulator.
Yeah, it's all happening because it's all been built. And these were like the people. There was this, like, in this documentary, there was this one girl, this one lady. She was a girl at the time. She was like 22 or something like that. She had a job. The BBC, they were like, yo, we're going to let you, we have like a little bit of extra money, so we're going to let you do this like electronica project. So she got paid by, like, funded by the BBC.
When this was?
It was like in the late 50s. So it was like 1958 or 59, like right before the 60s. So a long time ago. Like, yeah.
And what did the girl say?
And she did it. And she got mesmerized. And she was a classically trained violinist. All these women were classically trained musicians. And they started kind of like birthing the whole idea of taking a controlled voltage, like a wave, and turning it into a square, turning it into a saw wave, manipulating the frequency, basically. These women made the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life. I was like, oh my God. Like, but it was like it's so beautiful. I mean, it is so beautiful. And like Giorgio Midori, or Giorgio, I don't think that's how you pronounce his name, but that dude, craft work, even like old Daft Punk and stuff like that. I love that whole style. So it's like kind of, so sorry, back to the question.
Well, no,
I
would like to harp on
like
that for a second, because, I mean, that's really interesting. Can you imagine, those people are hearing sounds no one's ever heard before.
I know.
Like, that is literally what they were experiencing.
This lady made a machine. It was like the size of probably like a Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah.
And it was it fed these translucent pieces of tape that were like about 3 inches wide. And they were super, super long. And she would actually paint waveforms on this translucent tape.
What?
And she made it so
she painted them.
Yes. So like played these frequencies through like in the 50s.
Wow.
Insane.
That is
And then
insane.
she could manipulate them like by pulling them and pushing them. So it was like made all these weird noises.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of like DJ scratching.
Yeah, exactly, dude. They were like the original OGs.
Wow.
Like for real, man. Crazy.
Because
And
that is sound is just like a thing to a thing.
that's
and
the thing that
that's
like
where the waveform comes
birthed
from.
everything,
Yeah.
man. Hip hop, modern day, like electronica, techno, house, all of that came from that, you know?
Wow.
So it's just like unbelievable.
Yeah, there's so
to
much
me.
music that couldn't exist without synths.
Yeah.
Or just music that wouldn't be as powerful
Yeah,
without
exactly.
synths. Like
and
even
the way that they figured out how to create like envelope gates and sustain and all of that weird
Holy
stuff. Like, who
moly.
was the person who did that?
That's very
And it
true.
was these women, dude. And
Wow.
like, yeah, it was like one of the women in it were she was like dating the dude, Dr. Theremin, who was like or Professor Theremin. I forget his first name, but he like invented the theremin. And she was a classically trained violinist. And she was badass. But when she seen the theremin for the first time, she was like so freaking mesmerized that she learned how to like, she perfected it. And it was like, she would like do like Mozart, cover Beethoven symphonies on this theremin. You don't even touch it. It's just control it. She says, the way you play a theremin is with butterfly wings. That's what she said in the documentary. I was like, that's so dope because it's true. It's like just beautiful, like just the motion, like just the touch, or just your movement over these freaking things.
Yeah.
There's like oscillator generator things that come out from metal poles. Like, it's just insane.
So it's almost like magnets. Is that what's going
Yeah,
on?
I mean,
there?
I don't really know how they work. They're
Sounds like witchcraft.
I know it really reminds me of witchcraft. But it's I believe it's control voltage that goes through that somehow gets manipulated by your body motion or like the interruption of the field or whatever. I'm not really sure. That's what I'm deducing. I could be completely wrong. I'm not a professional on theremins, but I use that sound a lot, and I love theremins now that I've gotten older. I'm obsessed with them, and that like just to see that and just to see her play it that way, it's like mind blowing, you know?
Yeah.
That long ago, just to have that, I was like, you can do anything. If it's like a classically trained violinist decides she wants to do Beethoven on a theremin, like, hell yeah, like you can do anything.
Right. And
Especially
there's
with-
something inspiring about like the limitlessness of that creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's just something so intriguing there where it's like
1000%.
they're on the cusp of something,
Yeah.
and we like to think of music as this thing with boundaries, like we
Yes.
can only do so much.
Absolutely.
But then you see something like that and it reminds you that there are things we haven't discovered in this field.
And a really good way, because we always think of music, and I think we put kind of everything in general in a box, just
Yeah.
naturally as humans. But like with music, we think about the grid. We're gonna snap to the grid. We're gonna put it into 1/8, or 1/2, 1/4, 1/16, 1/8 Titan, whatever it is. It's got to be at this BPM all the time. It's got to be on this key, and that's great. Like if you're trying to do like something that's like I guess you could, I mean, like a really structured piece, but the way that they described it, which I really found I appreciated it a lot, was like the whole idea of electronica, or that early electronica stuff it's like energy. It's not like it's like a flowing energy. So it's not like a intro verse chorus bridge, outro. You know, it's not like that. It's mostly just like, it's very ethereal. And, you know, and it's just like a flow. And they got it. And, like, I really even didn't get it as much as I do now since I watched that great documentary. But I've loved electronic music for so long, and I've really been enjoying, like, older electronica stuff. Like, and I don't even probably know anywhere near as many of the cool old electronica people out there, but any of them that I find when I'm digging, it's all just so cool.
Because
like,
it's so different.
Yeah, it's like these people, like, you know, like, I'm gonna make this album by recording the birds outside of and the car traffic in Manhattan.
Is that conceptual?
Yeah, or like in Boston, because Boston has a roaring B minor. And anybody knows that if they're a composer, you know, like
really
these, because they were all classically trained, so it's like, and it was like, so like seat belts being buckled and stuff for the snares, and like, but it was all, I mean, there was nothing digital, so they were doing it, and then tape loops. These tape loops that these people would make were just, these women would make, were unbelievable. Their whole little crazy apartment. You want to talk about a cat apartment?
Yeah.
It was like a cassette tape spider web apartment, dude. It was awesome. I mean, and they would know like where exactly to go at one point in this long web of cassette reels just to get this one emotion out of the sound.
Wow.
You know? It was just like unbelievable. So I really like a lot of that. It really inspires me with my music. Just like I like keeping that in mind. I try to do everything. I try to mix and master and do everything to healing frequencies too. So even if you don't like my music, at least you're getting a little bit of a benefit from it.
I thought I heard somewhere that most music nowadays isn't at that frequency too. It's at a different one, right?
There's 9 different healing frequencies.
I just thought I heard like if you tuned music to the right frequency, it would have more of a healing energy rather than what we traditionally listen to.
It's like 174 hertz down to about like 968 is like the scale, and I think a lot of it falls into that.
And what's interesting about that is that it can be demonstrated with water and like floating things.
Absolutely.
Like you can see it in the sound wave itself that it's just a more harmonious frequency.
There's a healing frequency that actually has been shown and studied to repair DNA.
No way.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I know, man.
I mean,
so
it makes
wild.
you think about like the things we don't know when it comes to how waves, sound waves, affect us. I mean, it's so much more than what you would assume.
I've been so into that lately, man. Just trying to understand a little bit more about frequency, because like there is like frequency healers.
Yeah.
People who get healed diseases.
I would argue most people go through sound therapy just by listening to music.
Exactly.
And they don't realize that's what they're doing.
Exactly. And that's what I want to do with my music. Even if you don't know it, that's cool, man. It's my little gift to you.
That is cool. That's cool that you have that like hidden in there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then a bunch of
I was gonna say I like
worship Satan backwards.
But do it at a harmonious frequency. Do it at a healing frequency.
Worshiping Satan, backmaskings, and a healing frequency.
It might work better. It might work worse. We'll see. Be a good test.
We'll see. Yeah, exactly.
If they come out as Satanists, we'll see
if the 9 people turn completely insane or if they like really ascend.
Right, because it's one of the 2 directions. Yeah, it's just one or the other. But I was going to say, I like to feel like I'm an explorer when it comes to music. And in the way that those people you're describing who created synth and they're doing all these experiments, I like to think of myself in the same way where it's like, you know, it's like somewhere along the way the skeleton was developed for music where, as you described, verse, chorus, and also you forgot verse, pre-bridge, chorus.
I mean,
it's so
like
there's so verse, pre-bridge, chorus, or no, I'm sorry, verse, pre-chorus, chorus.
I'm living in
verse,
the Aerosmith
pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro.
Yeah,
Usually
yeah.
that's how most pop songs are going to go. And also I've noticed the second verse is half as long as the first verse. That's a thing that pop songs love to do. It's like, it sounds like, I'm sure it's just because
It's
it
just
makes it feel like
wild.
things are progressing at a faster rate.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what's happening subconsciously, but it's like, it's so predictable to me. I
so
know the hook is
predictable.
coming because I've heard this a million times.
Exactly. It's like
And-
coloring in the lines.
Yes,
It's like so boring.
I just think the only thing we can do as musicians is lead by example. Like we got to
Yes.
show people, because everybody else sees this schematic and they're like, oh, so that's how you make music.
Yeah.
And they think that's the only thing you can do is work within these
That's what
boundaries.
I was just talking to a friend the other day, and I was like, you know, it's really funny because I do a lot of art. I paint a lot and shit, and I failed art in like 11th grade.
But that's just some person.
Because like my art teacher I was like, I was raging against the machine at that time. I was like, I'm not gonna color in the lines.
Dude,
no.
I got a similar story. Oh my
That ain't
gosh.
art, man. Basquiat's art, dude. I'm not. I get light contrast and not shading and shadow. Blah blah blah.
You're
blah,
just
blah.
overcomplicating
I don't
the
wanna-
process, in
Yeah,
my
I don't want
opinion.
to. I don't want to fucking make I don't want to paint a pear that has a light bulb. No. If I'm gonna paint a wildlife painting, it's gonna be like a deer and a cow getting abducted by aliens or something, or like something interesting. I'm not gonna just be like, who hasn't seen a cow? If you don't, I mean, and you know, I guess maybe some people need that training, but I didn't need it, so I was always very much like, that's funny. I'm gonna color out of the lines, and my art teacher would get. My mom and dad were like, "Yo, how in the hell did you fail art?" I was like, have you seen my art? Like, yeah. I mean, it's chaotic. And
Yeah.
that's my style. It's always been my style.
Well, I was going to
And,
say, I failed poetry, I believe, in 11th grade.
and
I failed poetry.
That's what I like about music
And,
in the same way. It's just, like,
it frustrated
doing
me in the
myself.
same way that what you said frustrated me, because it's like
You
I
failed
had this
poetry?
teacher who was saying that
He's like,
you had
"Man."
to have other people, like you would write these poems and then you would have other people revise the poems.
Like,
And then
you
you would
trying to
have to
make me-
change the poem.
Yeah, like-
Dude, I'm never going to revise my poem. You're out of your mind. I wrote it that way for a reason.
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck if this person
Yeah.
tells me I should
is
change
my-
this. I
this is
wrote
my
it. That means
soul.
they didn't catch on whatever I was.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like, they don't have to get it.
Yeah, and-
That's
and
the
you know
magic
what?
of it.
Art is subjective.
Yes.
Poetry is subjective. Music is subjective. Let them make their decision. Don't make it for them. Like,
And-
that's lame.
And I think that she was just looking at it through a teaching perspective,
Yeah, and I
where it's
get
like she's
that.
thinking, I have to teach these people to understand poetry,
Like,
and
motherfucker, I
she's
am
used
not gonna
to.
bear the neurosis of their poetry 9th grade year. Like, just leave me alone.
I just think she misunderstood
Yeah.
poetry in general,
Yeah.
man, because it's like that's not what poetry is.
No.
Poetry is separate from an English class.
Yes.
Like poetry is.
Poetry is Poetry is like, oh my god.
It's about-
it's found in so many different ways, shapes, and forms.
Well, and it's very
Poetry is
interpretive.
Dolphins.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, like sonar is poetry to some people. You know, the Dutch language. If you don't know Dutch, I mean, you know, French can be a poetry for somebody. I mean, or American, some hillbilly hick talk, or some gangster ass rap can be poetry, or some gangster ass talk, like some real talk motherfuckers can be poetry.
In the sense that it's poetic.
Yeah, and it's all perspective because
Yeah.
we're all different. We can't be like, yo, you should be this way because I'm this way.
Wow.
You know, or like you should perceive everything the way I perceive it, or feel it the way I. That's like a unrealistic thought.
Well, I think the best artists demonstrate that
process.
inherently in their art.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just like you can't. Everyone's going to look at it differently, and
Yeah,
so
you got to get
that
comfortable
teaches
with
you
it.
the lesson.
Yeah, you got to get comfortable with it. You got to understand that some people aren't going to see it and be okay with it. You know, like,
Yeah.
There's certain paintings that I painted that I'm like that I won't sell to anyone unless they can actually see the piece, because it is kind of, some of it's like sporadic, but there's definitely like there's something there. You just got to find it. And
Right.
some people find it like right away. And some people are like, oh man, I really love the colors in this piece. I'd really like to buy it, but what is it? I'm like, man, think about it, look at it, figure out what it is, and come back and give me your interpretation, and then I'll think about selling it to you. Other than that, you ain't getting this painting, you know?
Yeah.
You can't have it unless you understand it. But I mean, I think that's really important, is to have like a little bit of a artist integrity. With your shit.
And like just some magic in there.
Yeah.
There's magic in there.
There's mad magic, dude, and it's purism, man. It's just like the most purest, beautiful thing, to do it your way, man.
I think that what it's so interesting to me is I think that, okay, so this is kind of like the grand scheme of it to me.
Unapologetic about
is
it.
that there's the nature of life is creation. Right?
Yeah.
The entire nature of everything is creation. Like, that is the one thing we truly cannot fully understand ever.
Absolutely.
How does one create? How do we have a baby? How do we create consciousness?
Yeah.
Where does this creation come from? And I think that there's something inherently inspirational about that. And I think that when you create art that inspires creation within others, it's like it's teaching them a fundamental lesson about life.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
they just feel it in their soul because that is the creation.
Yeah.
They feel that magic, that magical, spontaneous moment when something happened.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's like, and that's like everywhere. I mean, art imitates life. Life imitates art.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, that's everywhere. You know, like if a chemist is looking under a microscope and sees and like figures out, or some scientist figures out that this organism is the direct cause for breast cancer. And now I know because of these things. That's fucking beautiful, and that's art, and that's like that in its own way is art, because it's like making so many people's lives so much better, and like finding it and seeing it, and understanding it and seeing the beauty of it and being able to transmit it. You know?
Yeah, and to create that change.
Yeah.
Because that truly is something that will affect
because we need
people.
it.
Yeah.
We all need it, you know?
Right.
This place is fucking a shit show. we need people, man, to fucking step up and just be like trying to do some cool ass shit.
I agree.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
In a like a positive, or like just a more of
in a way that
genuine way, I guess.
Yeah, in a genuine way.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that
an
when it's
honest
real,
way.
that's what connects with people.
Yes.
We're kind of talking
I
about
think
that off
we're
the air,
over that.
where it's like that's why this podcast works the way it does, because
Yeah.
we're just talking. I'm not trying
Exactly.
to hit on all these points. We're just
Yeah.
We asked that one question. I've asked you one question so far, and then we've just been talking off of
Yeah.
that one thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how it always
and you
goes.
know, those are the best. Those are the best. And I was saving this for the podcast, dog. I don't. The iPod.
It's hard to pull that
the
stuff
iPod,
up.
I'm saving
He's
this
saving
for
it for
the iPod.
He was telling me off the air that he calls podcasts iPods sometimes.
Every now and then, I'm.
There's just a
dyslexic.
wire that's crossing right there. He's not sure where.
I don't know where everything went wrong, but it did at one point.
But it's just like that's what makes the natural flow of like I think that's why I connect with the podcast. I feel the reality in it. I feel someone expressing
That's
themselves, and that's the stuff I like to listen to. That's what I like to feel like I'm engaging with someone, even though I'm not. I'm just listening to them talk, but I'm drawing from it.
But you're engaging. You're pulling it out, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty and the difference between a good iPod.
A good iPod and a bad iPod.
A bad iPod.
Yeah.
I know the last podcast that I listened to, because I used to do a lot of traveling and I would have to drive a lot. So that was back in the day when I would listen to podcasts.
Oh man, they're great.
And,
There's so many I could recommend to you. There's some good
this
stuff.
one about like medical mishaps, or like the way we, like, in the history of the way we thought things would like heal people, and like medical procedures that were just like absolutely the worst thing that you could like the worst fucking like bloodletting and like all that kind of stuff. And they would just basically go through this thing and just like bring up like all this history of that. And that was really interesting.
Some of it's not even as long ago as you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably about 6 years, 7 years. It was probably still going.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was, but I really appreciated the like the banter and the organicness of the whole thing.
And it was educational.
Yeah, and it was super educational. Exactly. And it was super interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it was like yeah.
I mean, I think, there's because that's the thing. That's a podcast with an objective too. So there are ways you can do it.
Yeah,
like, there are ways you could do a podcast
if you're doing like
with
social ones, it's nice to get like people's perspective on just something.
Yes.
You know, like just I mean, even if whether it's a theme or if it's just sitting here and shooting the shit about just general shit that's going on in the world. How you feeling? How am I feeling? Where you at? Where am I at? Like, at least you can get a little bit of a different perspective, and you can just be like, all right, bet I feel that, dude. And, all right, cool. I feel that same way, man.
Yeah, you got to have some open-mindedness for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to have a bunch of different people on, especially, like, if you're somebody who's bringing in different guests.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that you just naturally learn over time. It's like,
have you ever had somebody
ever
had somebody here where you're just like, man, I do not agree, and you just gotta like hold your tongue?
I mean, no, because I think I could see someone going through
You're
that.
pretty neutral.
But if someone says
You're like
something and I
Poland over
disagree
there.
with it, I got no problem with it.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good. I just.
Like
you said, or like we're talking about.
You get that
you see the person and the other
neutral.
person. You be open-minded, and that's all it is. Like,
you're like fucking Poland.
and you're learning from them. You are like they're giving you something. They're giving you their perspective, and that's valuable in some sense. No matter if you agree or disagree, there's something in there that you can draw from. And I think that's really what's fun about conversations.
I think it's the most I think it's the most valuable thing about conversations and even like debates. Like, I like debating.
Oh
like,
yeah, because
love
I feel like
debating.
there's something. For, like I said, for you to draw from as an audience when you hear a debate, even like debating or hearing.
The older
a
I get, I don't get like I used to be like I used to get like a little nervous about debating. Like I didn't want to like go too hard or like hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings anymore. But I'm gonna spit the truth.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna spit my truth, what I believe and what I know. I'm not gonna be like. Have the whole Dunning-Kruger effect where like I'm gonna speak about stuff that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Like I might like I looked up one article, and let me tell you, the moon landing is real.
Like a thought without a thought behind it.
Yeah, without really doing like your research.
Well, you're not. Yeah, it's like you're not remixing the information like we were talking about earlier. You're not
like
taking
really
it, making it your own.
So I mean, it's like. And if it is a debate that I don't know, I don't know my stance on it. I don't know if there's a flat Earth. I don't know if the Earth is round. I really don't.
Well, and the exercise is fun.
I'm not gonna be like, "Fuck you, you flat earther! You're weird. Like you're so stupid." Or I'm not going to be like, you know what? You're crazy. The world's not round. That's just a big old conspiracy. And Stanley Kubrick did do the moon landing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the conversation. And
this is why I don't like to use Twitter, is I realize people on there more than anywhere else. Like, it's like they just, I think people are very self-affirming nowadays. It's very, very like, I have established this belief, and this is where I stand, and it's almost like it's
and it's easy
an
to
act
project
of pride.
that behind a screen.
Say again?
It's easy to project that behind a screen. A lot easier to do that behind a screen.
That doesn't happen in person.
Yeah, and instead of real life, you know.
Rarely does it happen in person.
It's a nice exercise to actually debate in real life sometimes, I feel.
This is what I'm saying. I'm on social media generally, though. Even I used to really argue with people on Facebook, and now over time I've realized that is such a waste of my time.
Yeah, I'm going to argue in real life.
Well, dude, not only that, I'm arguing in real life, because every time I've argued in real life, that never happens. Nobody gets that upset. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares.
It's like I talk shit to my friend's face, and then I build them up behind their back.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. But yeah, nobody's going to front on you about your decision to think if blah, blah, blah is right or wrong or whatever.
And if they do get upset, that's a reflection of themselves. That's not you.
And exactly. It's like, dude, in real life, but man, those motherfuckers will go hard on social media.
Yeah,
dude.
they do.
They'll be like, yeah, we're going to get you, man. We're going to get you. I'm like, damn. Like, all right, bet. I didn't know you guys were so intense about macaroni and cheese.
Right.
Dope.
It's something that's completely
So
like
trivial.
It could be anything. I mean, it could be something serious, or it could be macaroni and cheese.
Yeah,
I mean,
or-
that's the magic of it.
Or
That's
somebody
what's
could
so.
take what you say out of context, and it's just like,
Well, and this is the thing that I'm talking
Yeah.
about is like the fact that you're having a conversation in that format allows for this inhuman.
yes, you lose you lose context. You lose
You lose this
tone,
natural thing
you lose
that we're-
tone,
yeah.
You lose body contact, which all is extremely fucking important for us to understand each other. I've been doing in the last like 10 years a lot of research on nonverbal communication and nonverbal communication. It's so important.
Right.
It really is. I mean, you can scream to the top of your lungs and beat the shit out of somebody mentally without saying anything, with the right look or the right gestures or the right posture or the change in your attitude. That's all nonverbal communication. So important, but you can also build people up with nonverbal communication too. You can diffuse situations. You can inspire people.
Yeah.
You can win people over.
I would argue it's the only way we even do anything with animals for the most part.
Exactly. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you can talk to your dog, but they don't know what you're saying.
But it's the nonverbal communication that makes them understand you're a cool person. Like, you're a good dude.
Yeah.
Or you're just kind of, like, stiff and fucked up and, like, It's like, I don't know, man.
That dog's going to be tripping out.
Exactly.
He
Or
doesn't
just
know
a
what's going
dickhead
on.
Who's just, like, mean all the time. Like, just arguing with everybody in the world. It's like, or even if they're not arguing, they still have like a scowl on their face all the time. It's like, are you okay?
Yeah. And it's interesting that
everything
even
be
an
all right?
animal can detect that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard things like animals, like they know when you're going to take them to the park as opposed to when you're going to take them to the vet just by that nonverbal thing
it's
that's
wild.
going on. Like the
Yeah.
tone within your actions.
Yeah.
The animal can read
It's such
you.
an interesting thing, man. Nonverbal communication is one of the coolest things. And it's one of those things that a lot of people don't really talk about.
Well, it's just
much.
everything is deeper than, it's as deep as you want it to be.
Yeah.
So if you want to dive deep into that thing, there's so much more to
Yeah.
it than.
Like, you
I
can-
think everybody's a tiny bit aware of what's going on there, but when you truly think about it, it's just such an integral part of any
Yeah.
communication
Like,
at
you,
all.
you could be the dude who like wears the perfect outfit to work, and you show up on time every day, and you stay late for your car salesman job, and you go out and you talk to people about buying a new car, and you explain all the benefits and all of the great things, and have the worst nonverbal communication and destroy yourself and not make shit. Then you could be the person who's like, I don't know, man. Figure it out yourself, but have the right body contact or body nonverbal communication, and just be like, yo, let me put you on some game, dude. You know what you should do, and you know what you shouldn't do. Eye contact, all of that stuff. Be real. You could be like, show up for work late, like 2 hours every day. Like, take an extra 15 minutes for every lunch, and people will still be like, man, we got to keep that dude. He rules.
Yeah.
The guy who's like just trying to do it, just can't. Or anybody. I mean, like, people, I see it a lot, man. I started noticing it quite a bit because I worked with the general public for so long, and really, really in close quarters. Because I worked for an optical company, and I just noticed the different effects just nonverbal communication had on the outcome of like debates, talks, negotiations, all of that. And I found it just so fascinating, and so I started just like delving into it. I was like, man, that's so crazy. There's just certain things that, and like people like they mean no harm. I mean, a lot of people don't mean no harm. Like, but some people just don't have that ability to be able to, like, keep their resting bitch face on. Like, even if they're like, if it's a frustrating situation, they can't not huff and puff. They can't not just be easy about it.
Yeah.
It's like they can't not be a control freak.
It's within their nature.
Start sweating and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just within their nature. And it's
And
like,
most people,
whoa.
see, that's why you just got to be understanding too, because you don't know what gets a person to that
Exactly.
point. You don't know what makes them what they are.
Yeah, exactly. Gaslighting people is so stupid because it's like you don't know who you don't know.
You
what,
really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's everybody's got different personalities. Everybody's been through their different things, and people deal with it the same way. But the one thing I have realized is like a lot through this whole thing of nonverbal communication. How the fudge did we get on nonverbal communication?
Oh man, good question.
We were talking about something else.
Nonverbal. I really can't tell you.
You're gonna
I can't
do a
tell
little
you.
editing, but.
I think we've been on it for a good 10 minutes, but I don't know what got us here. Because honestly, we've been moving at high speeds.
Yeah.
Like when we hit 10
Sorry.
minutes, I look. No, it's great. It's great. I just looked
Yeah,
over
you get
at
a lot
10
of
minutes. I was like, damn, dude, we've been talking
content.
10 minutes. I feel like we've been talking 25. Like just because we hit so many different things, which is great. I think that's great. I think we're keeping it moving, dude. Sometimes people who because I'm glad you know how to talk. Sometimes, and I'm not talking about on the podcast. I just mean in general. Some people just don't know how to talk. It's kind of what we're talking about, actually.
Yeah.
You can't even blame them because that's within their nature. That's just who they are.
Yeah, it's communication in general. And
But I mean, it's fun to have somebody who can banter because then you have a lot to go back and forth off of.
Absolutely.
Some people, dude, I'm doing a lot of the pulling.
How about those bears?
Yeah, whole lot of what, where, when questions.
Oh, yeah, the open-ended questions trying to get it. Yeah, man, I get it, dude. I get it. That's funny. Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yep, it's part
I
of the
love those
territory.
people.
You know what's funny about those people is you just gotta like fuck with them.
Yeah,
And just start
and there's
asking
something
them
in there.
random ass shit, like the most like weirdest shit, and just like be like, just get them uncomfortable enough to just. They gotta talk. They can't not talk.
All right, so like you ask that person like, yo, would you rather fuck Hulk Hogan with a vagina or Megan Fox with a penis?
Exactly.
They're gonna answer that question.
Exactly. Yeah.
That guy, or they're just gonna give you a look, and that's also
Did
fun.
you know there is a fisting house in South France? There's a documentary about it.
Hit him with them fun facts.
Yeah, man. I store them up, man, for those occasions. Especially with working at the brewery, man.
I bet you get great reactions out of people too.
Oh my god!
Especially because they're a little drunk, so
some
they're a
of them
little.
are, and there's some of them are just like the uptight people, and it's like, that's so cute.
Right.
I mean, that's cute. I mean, that's
got it in
awesome.
'em.
But I'm not the one, man. I'm not uptight. I'm gonna get you guys wilding a little bit. Everybody deserves that.
And I think that
Everybody
it's like
deserves to
it's
wild
like
out
what
a
you're
little
talking
bit.
about with the nonverbal communication. I think a lot of people just automatically assume that somebody like that is, they're uptight, they're not gonna have fun, so I'm just gonna treat them all formally. If you have fun with that person, they'll still probably respond.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
And just be like, yo, it's cool, man. I know you're mad at me right now. I mean, you're not even mad at me. I can guarantee. You know what you're mad at? You're mad at yourself because you know you like me. Flat out. So, like, let me tell you this. Don't be mad at yourself, dog. Let's have fun.
That really is what it is.
And that's what I liked about you when you first came to Tenacity, man, and played your show. I was like, this motherfucker he doesn't give a fuck. Like, you were in everybody's face doing your thing, man. I was like, yeah, that's my dude.
You just gotta be yourself.
Because you got to, man. You got to do it, and you got to rep yourself, man.
I think that, and it's like, again, what I'm saying about leading by example. Like, people see that, and they love
it's inspiring,
that.
Yeah. Super inspiring.
Because they're like, oh, shit, well, he doesn't give a fuck.
And even if somebody, like, makes fun of you about it, it's like, fuck you. You do it.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the right motherfucking way. I'm going to have my bars right, and I'm going to get in your face and tell you what's up. I got something to say. I'm not here to fucking die quiet. You know?
Right. And that's a reflection of them. Like that's their interpretation
Yeah,
of
it's
what
like,
you're
"Ah,
doing.
that's
There's a million
so
other interpretations
cute."
of it.
Yeah, it's
I mean, like what always reminds me that what I do is working is things like what you're telling me right now.
Yeah.
When I hear that, I'm like, oh, like it's if I made that one difference for that one
Yeah.
person, then I am
'Cause
successful.
you get a lot of haters in this world, man.
Yeah,
You
they're
get a lot of
everywhere.
those
You just
people, man.
that's
Yeah, you
just
just
the
gotta-
incorrect
yeah.
response to it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
that's fine.
Feedback does
Yes,
feedback
yes,
means
absolutely.
something.
It builds you.
But at the same time, there's so much of just people
Yeah,
looking for the
unnecessary,
wrong
yeah,
things.
negativity,
Yeah.
and like, oh, what is this guy doing, or what is this girl doing? What are they doing? Oh, that's weird. Like, they should be just like me and not do that.
Right.
Like, if we were all just like you, not doing anything, nobody'd get anything done.
Well, and
Like,
that would be a fucking
it
terrible
would be
world if we
horrible.
were all the same
Yeah,
person.
Exactly.
That
Nobody
world would
wants
suck.
that. Yeah.
Like that, I think that what makes life so beautiful is the integral difference between
Absolutely.
every single living being.
Yeah.
Like there is not one of us that is the exact same because
Yeah.
we're all a product
You know
of
what's-
everything that leads to now.
You know what's crazy? Speaking of that, I was raised a Jehovah Witness.
Yeah.
And the common belief with Jehovah Witnesses that I just couldn't wrap my brain around the older I got was that everybody's going to be resurrected after Armageddon, and we're all going to become perfect. And I was like, that'd be that sounds like hell to me, because it's like, okay, so like we're all perfect, like everybody's perfect. So like if I'm like, yeah, dude, I can jump 25 feet. Like my vertical jump is straight up 25 feet. I have the perfect vertical jump. Ground vertical jump. I can too. Like you couldn't like be, there's like no separation.
Yeah.
It'd be like, I wouldn't even talk to anybody. I'd be like, everything that I can do, you can do just as good as me, and as everything you can do, I can do just as good as you. There's like,
It'd be so boring.
It'd be so boring. That's the beauty of difference. I was like, man, I cannot get behind that. I'd rather die. I'm
Yeah.
good. I don't want to be perfect after Armageddon or whatever, man. I'm good, dude. I'm gonna pass on to the next life, man. I'm gonna go past the light, and my soul is gonna go to the next spot.
I like to think, because, there's the phrase, practice makes perfect. And I've just been thinking lately, like, the better way to put it is practice makes perfect makes more practice. Like, it's always this growth pattern. The perfect never happens.
Yes.
You're
And-
always
and-
making
and-
more practice to achieve the perfect, and then you keep going. Like,
Yeah.
you never
And if
reach
you-
it.
And if you are
And that's the beauty of
mature enough, you understand that perfection is
it. It's an ideal.
it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like my perfection, my perfect, the fact that I was able to, like if I could do something, yeah, I did it. Perfect. That was awesome. I baked that cake.
Right.
As perfect as I could do it. Probably not going to be as perfect as everybody else's, but to me, hell yeah, that was a perfect SETH STOLZ cake right there, man. It's got a Barbie doll in the middle of it, bunch of babies going out of plants and shit. You know, like, that's my cake.
Well, and I like to think, too, like, if this is not perfect, then what is it? Like, isn't this moment perfect simply
Yeah.
because it is? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing, perfect doesn't have to be this magical thing that you reach out and get.
Perfect should be
can be
organic.
right here, right now. It could be,
This is motherfucking perfect,
yeah.
dog.
Like, what is not perfect about it?
Yeah,
And
nothing.
and even if that's incorrect, wouldn't that be the better way to look at it?
Yeah.
You
like,
know?
there could be somebody who would come in here and be like, man, this ain't perfect, dog. I need, like, a bigger spot.
It's like, bro, you're
Or,
killing my
I need
vibe.
water. I need Cristal, or I need Evian water, or just all green M&Ms, dog. That would make it perfect. Like, fuck, I mean, that's cool, dude. But, like, we don't. But, like, you can go to the store and buy some and, like, make it happen if you'd like. You want me to get I can't get a better desk. You got any money? I can't get better studio monitors, but guess what? They're perfect for me.
Yeah.
This is my spot that works perfect for me, and I love this spot. I made this spot. I built this. Whatever it is, I wrote this book. I subscribe a lot to this thing called Toltec philosophy, And
Say again?
I subscribe to this like philosophy quite a bit within the last like 15 or 20 minutes.
What's it called though?
No, just kidding.
Oh,
no, like,
I heard toe tat.
It's called Toltec philosophy, and it's like a kind of like a general guide to like inner peace.
Okay.
And it's not in the last 15 minutes. I've been studying it quite a bit in the last few years.
Just in the last 10 minutes now, I decided.
I just had an epiphany.
Right during this conversation.
No, but the Toltec philosophy is like we are kind of like our own gods.
Okay.
We are the first person character. There's no one else that Wyatt. There's no other Wyatt that's going to write the story that you're going to write. There's nobody that's going to create the path that you're going to create. Even in this life, the next life, whatever.
They don't exist.
They don't exist. You're the only one.
Yeah.
I'm a secondary character to your first. Your. I could. We're doing this podcast. Mm-hmm. Could change your life. Probably won't. You're still gonna do what you want to do. You're still the person who's gonna walk out that door, and you're gonna maybe not edit it, post it, maybe post it. I don't know, but you're gonna do what you do.
Right.
It's nothing to do with me. What you tell me is gonna inspire me, but ultimately, I am gonna be the one who's going to make the way for myself. So like I'm kind of like it's the whole idea that you're your own God. Nothing matters, but everything matters. So like don't get too horribly caught up in the whole idea of what people say, because no matter what they say, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because inherently within that
they
idea,
don't have any control of
you're the main character,
but
you're the secondary character to someone else.
Yes, exactly. Everybody's a secondary, third person character, fourth character. Yeah, depending on but you're
as the main character, you can't control the secondary characters.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody can control anybody. So it's like being conscious of the whole idea that the only way, like, you can make me sad, you can make me happy, you can be mad at me, you can be frustrated with me, you can be let down by me, you can be inspired by me. You can do all of that, like, but all the positive, hell yeah. But all the negative, like the being let down because I didn't do it your way, or I would have done it different, or you know what you should do? All of that stuff really doesn't matter because, honestly, the only way you're going to get through this life is by building your own, your path. You're the only one, so you're God. You're your own God.
Yeah.
I mean, you can think that what other people say matter, and you know, you can take it to heart and be conscious about it and learn from it and be inspired by it. But realistically, we're our own gods, man. The only one who's gonna make your own path wide is you. Just like me, man. I'm the only person. You can be like, yo, Seth, you know, you gotta pay your taxes. Like, all right, bet. Thanks for letting me know. If I want to pay my fucking taxes, I'm going to pay my taxes. If I don't want to pay my taxes, I'm not going to pay my taxes. If I want to live in an abandoned house, I'm going to live in an abandoned house. If I want to live in a mansion, I'll live in a mansion. All I know is I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be a good person and have pure intentions and very unapologetic about it because realistically, I'm the only one that can really do it. I mean, I'm the only one. But the main thing is, yeah, just doing things with good intentions, not being a jerk, you know, and being conscious about the whole idea that don't let people get you down, you know. People are gonna talk shit. People are gonna be frustrated with you. People are gonna be blah blah blah. You should have did it this way. And they're probably gonna like try to teach you stuff, and it's like cute, but it's like also just like a nice thing to remember. Like, nobody's better than anyone else. No one is. Like, we're all our own gods. We are all exactly the same in the fact that nobody's better than anyone else, and we're all awesome, perfect in our own way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you're a heroin addict, you're perfect in your own way. Going back to that, you know. So that's kind of like that like the whole thing of like, it's all perception, you know. Like I've made a shit ton of money. I've went to beautiful places. I've hung out with a lot of people who had a lot of money, and I've also been homeless, and I've actually been happier when I was homeless, to tell you the truth.
Well, you hear that from a lot of people
yeah,
who have been successful.
Yeah, it was like none of that really mattered. It kind of got like trite, you know. It was all like too. It was too contrived, not organic, and like too much. Like I got Bona Drag written on or tattooed on my knuckles in a really shitty way, like jailhouse style, because it means well, it's a Morrissey album, and I really like Morrissey, but it also means nice outfit, and I was working in like a higher fashion industry, and I just got it was so funny how everybody thought they were cooler than everyone else, and just because of what they wore, and what car they drove, and how big their house was. And they were like, just like, man, be easy. And it was always the person who thought they were cooler than everyone else and would be the loudest person that would be the first person to fuck up everything. And it's like, I was like, if everybody just be humble and be cool and like not be like over aggressive and loud and chaotic and I want all the attention and I'm better than everyone else. If everybody just didn't do that, like we'd be so much more efficient. We could go down to probably like 3-day work weeks.
Now, as somebody who, you might have some perspective on this because you've lived through the change. So I feel like social media has exaggerated this in people, where naturally you're put on a pedestal because that's the nature of it.
Yeah.
Like you're posting on your account and you're on this pedestal.
Yeah.
So whatever you say on your page is that's the ultimate representation of whatever you are. And so it kind of makes us more concrete and makes us more solid. Like we have to stand on whatever we do or else we're not. Like,
yeah.
I think it makes people less flexible and less open. Like, oh, I can't say something and then change my mind. Or I can't let this person who disagrees with me, I can't let this happen. Like, I have to prove to them that I'm... And it's just like they're not humble about it.
Yeah, and also with the social media, with everything in social media, especially, like, you post... And you get a lot of those people who, like... You know, I just was watching reading an article. I was watching like a little Vice documentary, I think. It's just like the whole the culture of no one take a day off. Hustlers hustle. Never take a day off. Always, you know, just you know, like grind. Money. Gotta be better than everyone so I can get my fucking Adderall so I can grind harder. Grind. It's not like where you go to Europe and they're like, eat while you work. Show everybody that you're the hardest worker. I'm like, man, chill out. Like, you're setting the fucking bar way too high. Like, go to Europe. Like, go to Italy and, like, people are like, yeah, we're going to have a 3-hour lunch. Like, in America, we're like, can I get a lunch? That would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Like,
and the instability of that in the culture, I think, creates a lot of catastrophe, a whole lot of...
Everybody, and it makes people who don't really subscribe to that viewpoint have to keep up.
Of course.
And it sucks. And it's like, shame on y'all, because like you're setting a standard that's, I mean, our standard as Americans is, in my opinion, quality of life versus work is ridiculous.
Right.
Especially with the wages that we make. We don't make anything. We don't get really helped out too much with health care.
Like the average person is not expected to live comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at the homeless population in California is absurd. These are not drug addicts. These are professors, teachers, ninth grade English teachers that can't afford a house in Oakland County in California because every house is $1.5 million because you got these achieving assholes who all
inflate the price.
Yeah, inflate the price by just gotta be cutthroat, be better than everyone. It's like, how about this? Just be easy.
Yeah.
And let's get it accomplished.
Well, I think the problem is you have to give humans boundaries. I think that's the real thing. I think what's interesting about it is I think that what makes it recognizable is that it's within all of us. We know, what would you do if you had $10 million? Would you stop there or would you want more?
Yeah.
You can't answer that question unless you're the person with $10 million.
Exactly.
You just don't know what you would do because you learn something about yourself through that. And I think a lot of us, it's hard to see it, but we would fall a victim to the same circumstances and we would have our greed overcome us.
In a little bit of a way. Yep,
yeah.
Everybody, and some people would do it worse than others. But you know what?
This is what I'm saying. You have to give those people boundaries.
Yes.
You have to make regulations and rules that stop those people from making it so abundantly clear that they are taking over.
Yeah, it's bro, golly,
you can't have all that.
Chill out, yo. Take a break for a second, dog.
And you have to force them to take a break because some people, most of us, like we said, they won't take the break.
Yeah.
It's hard to admit it.
You'll be like, yo, guys, we should all ask for 3 10-hour day work weeks. 3 10-hour day work weeks. That's 30 hours. We could get all the stuff that we need to get done for this position and this job done in 30 hours if we're efficient in those 3 days. Then we have 4 days off and get to chill, have good food, eat healthy, hang out with our family, have a nice quality life. Instead, we just fucking stand around coffee makers and bitch and complain for 2 hours, waste that 2 hours at a job or make a shit ton of mistakes, waste a bunch of time because we're not, we're malnourished, we're burnt out, we're just sick and homeless.
Yeah. Imagine doing all that and then still being homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. This is great. American dream. And I'm not fuck America because
I think that it's just like everything. There's good sides and bad sides. But it's what I'm saying. We've so tipped over time. I feel like these issues have just gotten more and more exaggerated, and that's the real problem. Yeah. It's that we don't have fail safes. I think that's the word. We don't have things that will stop it from getting this bad.
Exactly.
And that's the nature of the freedom that that's our main ideal. So it's a double-sided sword. You can't win.
I think what's gonna happen is it's all gonna get burnt out on its own. The Mother Earth is. The universe is going to...
It's going to respond.
It's going to respond and take care. It's like a Takeshi 6ix9ine situation.
I feel like what's so interesting about it is I think that's the ultimate thing about Judgment Day with Christians. I think that's what they're looking at it as. Is the universe is going to respond to all of this evil.
They put it in the package of a man and this way. Yeah. But I think it's going to be... Yeah, I think the universe is going to do it one way or another. And I think it's going to be more of a
part of history,
a personal warfare on the people that made the decisions. Now they're living with the repercussions of the decisions that they made and realizing how hollow life is. And that they're going to be like, oh, fuck this noise.
But this is what scares me about that, is with the way you just described it, is that's just a select group of people that will experience it.
Yeah.
I fear for humanity.
Yeah.
I fear that it's all of us that are going to face the repercussions.
It's all going to get worse, man. It's just going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until, I don't know, until we die. and then move on to the next cool spot. They do say this is the tumbling process, so maybe it's just that's where we're at. I mean, we just gotta like roll around like a fucking stone and just get polished for the next good shit.
It's hard to imagine yourself as a point in time. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard for us to imagine.
I know.
When we think about the 60s, that was a point in
I
time.
know.
People,
A sliver.
when they were there in the now.
Yeah.
Same thing with the 1800s. Those people weren't thinking about it
all
like
live in
this
the
is the
now.
past.
I
They were
know.
thinking this is right now. This is the future.
I
Like
think-
in the 1800s, they were thinking this is the future.
I think
and
about
so
that shit all the time.
It's
man.
hard to put that in perspective for a lot of
I
people.
know,
And so
man.
it's hard to see yourself in the
Yeah, you
tumbling
put
process.
yourself-
It's
yeah,
hard to
yeah, yeah.
see that, like, maybe this system we got
Yeah.
is crumbling in on
Yeah.
itself.
Yes.
And, I mean, until you really think about it, like, how much longer do we got before
Yeah.
this just bubbles over?
And I mean, how much longer is it going to take for that phone to be the lamest phone on the market, or that computer to be so outdated, that processor, that style of clothing, that car, that house, you? Like, you die. I was just thinking about this earlier. Like, okay, like if you die, I wonder what the average amount of time people that are like maybe not your like super close family, like how long it takes for people to kind of just forget. I mean, like I had a friend who passed away, and he was young and it was super unexpected. And I think about him all the time. But we weren't like, I mean, we were really close, but we weren't like, we like kind of grew apart. But I don't think there's like really a day that goes by that I don't think about him. And he died like 6 months ago. But I know, like, I'm pretty sure that like everybody else that was really, really grieving with me for the 2 day, like the day we found out in that week, like really grieving and really broken up about it. I'm pretty sure they don't even remember that dude. Like, they moved on. Like, we have such a short attention span in general. Like, I wonder what the average time it is that you're just forgotten.
Well, you know,
After you
there's
leave.
been studies with like memory and all this, and it's generally
I mean, it
case
does with
that people who
everything.
have really good memories, who remember everything, those people are depressed. That's too
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
information.
exactly.
You don't want to remember everything.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
healthiest way
yeah,
a human can
is
be
to
is
forget.
to be forgetful,
Yes.
in a sense.
Yeah, yeah,
You,
that's
you don't
true.
want to remember everything.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that's super interesting.
It's
'cause
interesting,
It's
though.
like the idea of being perfect. It's
Yeah.
like we want to be able to remember
Yeah.
everything because that sounds awesome. I would never forget a thing. I'd be so smart. I would remember everything that you
hell.
said. Yeah, that'd be hell.
Yeah,
dude.
you'd be wondering if I'm in hell, heaven or hell.
Well, not only that, yeah, exactly. Because I feel like you're
Wait
in
a
hell.
minute. Did you just play a trick on me, God? Is this really heaven? Is this hell? Like, this is weird.
And it would suck because
Can I try
nobody
hell?
else goes through that hell. It's just
Yeah,
you.
it's just you.
Like,
It's
God
like
definitely
personal
playing tricks
shit.
on you. You're the only one.
Yeah.
You and like 10 other dudes.
Yep.
Like with the people with super memories, you could tell them 300 numbers in a row. They'd remember every
and they'd
single
be like,
one.
yeah, I can do that too. Watch backwards.
Backwards. Yeah, because the thing is, like, about these people
Like, me
is
too.
you're sitting there thinking about that receipt number, like how much you paid for that receipt 28 years ago. It said
Yeah.
28.37 on the receipt. Like, such random
Yeah.
information would be stored in your brain.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't want that.
No.
Like, there's so many things that you'd be thinking about
Exactly.
that just be useless. And you
Useless.
can't stop it. You can't stop it. It's
You would-
like a processor that just
I already
has too many.
feel like I have too. I feel like sometimes I'm like a like over processed brain that I can't like stop thinking about things and like, what's my next move? What's my next thing that I got to do? Where am I at? Where am I going? What is the meaning of life? What do I got to remember?
And then you
Like,
realize you
it's
spent 30
already-
minutes thinking about
Yeah,
those things.
and it's like, and I waste half of my day thinking about what I'm gonna do, and like, and getting so bogged down in what do I gotta do, and what do I gotta remember, and blah blah blah, that I'm just like, I don't know if I can really make a decision at this moment. I'll get back to you. And
Yeah.
so it's like, I gotta go like do some yoga or something, or go meditate for a minute, man. Like, just let that all go for a minute, and then I'll get back to it. I think it's super important.
I heard too just recently that forward movement reduces anxiety, but it has to be. I think the study that they didn't involve
Forward-
treadmills. It was forward movement, like going for
movement.
walks.
Yeah.
But I think it's simply like the act of engaging,
motion, stays
yeah,
in
engaging
motion.
with your body. It allows you to kind of
Yeah.
reconnect with that.
Body-
I think that we
body
get
and
out of
motion.
sync.
Yeah, body emotion stays in motion, and body at rest stays at rest. I think it really has to do with our mind, our brain too. You know,
There's so
Yeah.
much underlying the current
Yeah.
moment that we cannot even understand. There's
depression, stress, anxiety, all of that gets built up, and then that creates sickness in your body because it's all, you know, it's like, yeah, so if you can try, if willing and able, if you can do it, move.
Nah.
That's what I always say. Like,
Yup.
I mean, no matter how freaking down you are, just move. Get up and move just a little bit. Whether it's just going to the bathroom, taking a lap around your house, or just going out on the porch and getting some fucking fresh air for a minute.
I feel like people are more acquainted with this idea maybe now that they got locked inside for a year or two.
Yeah,
I think now
probably.
they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I do like going for walks
Me too,
and this, and
man,
I like
yeah.
being outside of my home. Like
Yeah.
it really made people realize the things that they
absolutely.
enjoy beyond
Yes.
just the security of complacency.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we took it for granted a bit, and yeah, when it got kind of stripped away from us a little bit more than we ever thought it would, we're like, oh, bet. You know what? Fuck my house. I've been in that place for too long. I want to go out and get some fresh air. Like my car broke down a couple of days ago, or like about a week ago. But I work like a mile or 2 miles from my house, so it's like the most beautiful walk. And like if I had like 4 people be like, "Yo, I'll help you fix my car or fix your car," I'm like, "Cool. Yeah, just let me know. No rush, dude. I'm good, dude. I like walking. I'm good. It's like beautiful walk. It's perfect time. Spring is
Helps that you can make it to work with the walk.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's a nice walk. Yeah, I'm not like walking, you know, across like 10 miles, which I've done before in certain other situations in life.
But there's something about the walk itself that
yeah,
is.
but the walk, yeah. I mean, the walk itself, you know, wakes you up and get you moving. You know, get your everything moving. Mm-hmm. You get to you're never gonna find a $5 bill on the ground in a car.
Oh wow!
Hey-o.
Great point. You're also never gonna step on glass. Shout out Flint, Michigan.
Hey-o.
Bro, that one thing drives me nuts. I take my dog for walks around here.
Yeah.
It's like we have to avoid glass.
Dude.
Bro, I don't know where else
stop,
you got to deal
everyone.
with this, but
Please
it
stop.
blows,
It
bro.
sucks.
I just don't, bro.
Especially in the
just,
winter,
Just
or I mean
wait
in the
till you get
summer.
home and throw the bottle away.
Yeah, like it's not fun. It's
Because
not
people,
cool.
I walk my dog. Don't you care about my dog's little paws?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Exactly. And my little paws too, man. I'm trying to stay grounded. Sometimes I like to go outside when I'm like, and I like to be out with my bare feet in the summer. Like,
And we can't do it with that. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I feel
you gotta
that's
be
why I'm always wearing.
super
yeah,
careful.
I'm the same way. I saw a video that said it's healthier to walk without shoes, and I'm thinking I can't do that where I live.
Sucks, man. Yeah, it sucks. I know. I live right across from K&J, and it's just constantly stuffed bottles, glass bottles that are being thrown out of their windows. Like, how are you throwing these out of your window? Like, there's this thing called a Kroger bag. Just put it in your car. And just put that.
Okay, but my understanding is that it's
Kroger bag.
paranoia that the cops are gonna pull them over, so they have to throw the bottle out
No,
because if
bet.
they don't, there's a bottle in their car. Now, I might just be making excuses for them,
Really?
but that was the only way I could rationalize it in my brain.
Nobody's gonna get arrested for drinking a
Yeah, bro,
fucking
you know where you live.
A Calypso juice. I've seen Calypso juice drink glass bottles smashed all over around my house, man. And those are non-alcoholic.
Right.
You ain't gonna
That's a
get
great
pulled over
point.
for that shit.
It doesn't matter.
All smashed all over my house.
So yeah,
Dude,
my
it's
excuse,
crazy.
I guess, is completely
But
wrong.
I
then.
mean, it's a good theory. I mean, but we shouldn't take those theories like what we hear for like. Now I can be like, yo, man, fuck that shit. I ain't keeping anything in my car. I'm gonna throw this glass. Don't do it. No.
I mean, to me, it's depressing.
It's
It's
depressing.
like it shows that it's a reflection of how they think of themselves and they think of their surroundings.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like,
It's
oh,
like-
you think of
it's like
yourself as just
egotistical.
yeah, and then they're not considering others
Yeah,
as well. I
exactly.
agree, but I
Yes.
think like in the end, it's like it's all of that. They're not considering others because they've just accepted this
They're their
idea
own God.
that
They believe in the
they're their
Toltec
own God. Exactly.
philosophy, and they're an over an ego inflated first person character in their life.
That's a great way to look at it. They're the first person. They're the main character,
And that's-
and in
nothing
that and in
matters.
that
Nothing
reality,
else
what
matters.
is the secondary? What's the
What are you gonna do?
consequence? What's going to
Yeah,
happen?
yeah.
Nothing.
If you don't see it, if you don't, does a tree make a noise in a forest if nobody sees it?
Wow,
Yeah.
that is exactly it.
You
You're
know,
right.
like if you don't see me do it, I didn't do shit. You mind if I smoke real quick?
We'll just have to take a little
break?
pause.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
You can pause it.
All right, so we'll be right back, folks. We're taking a smoke break.
I'm gonna smoke. Sorry.
We're addicts.
Yeah. He's like, I never get pulled over because I have a Marine sticker and it's FBI 946. His thing is.
Wow.
So it's like, if a cop sees me, like, fuck that. I'm
Right.
like, that is genius. Like, that's so great.
Yeah. Because, I mean,
FBI.
ultimately,
You should get
it's all about,
FBI
they're looking for
810.
pointers. That's all the cop's looking for is pointers when he's driving around.
Yeah.
So, as long, if you're like, you play some classical
Or
music.
like MI6. Or like some try to figure out like the most obscure police code or something like undercover agent.
Oh,
Or something
yeah.
Like that. Like,
If you could-
what's the code for an undercover agent? We got a down 134.
If you could figure out what the cop's safe word is, if you
Yeah,
could just
yeah.
figure out what that is
Figure
and put it
that
on the
out.
back of your car,
You could do
you'd be
it.
set. You're never getting
Just gotta
pulled
find
over.
somebody who's got a fucking police scanner. Actually, I know a couple cops. I could ask.
Yeah, just ask around.
I will.
You could be a detective.
I like talking to people. I'm a pretty good detective. I get a lot of stuff out of people's brains because they all think I'm fucking crazy, and maybe I am in certain ways, but I don't mean no harm. But it's also like I don't care what you think. I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna ask you questions, and I want to know. The only way to be interesting is to be interested.
yes.
You know? And it's like, if you're not interested, it's like, you're not interesting. I lose interest in people when they're not interested in me. Like, if you're not interested in me, it's like, ha, cool, that was good to see you, man. All right, man, be well. And then I go on to the next person who's interesting and asks questions and engages and shit. And I try my hardest to just be interesting or interested because I am interested, but I feel like it's one of the quintessential things to keep people interested in you. Like,
Yeah.
Really, even if they don't like you, like, it's okay. Sooner or later, they will.
Yeah.
Like, if you just be like, yo, dog, that's cool, man. How's your mom doing? Yeah, good. Did you have a good Christmas?
And
Like-
and the way I think about that is like, just think about how you feel when
Yeah,
people
I
ask
feel
about
good
you.
when people ask about me. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, that's like such a jerky thing to like just go through life and just be like, oh, I'm just so self-involved. And
See, I agree with
it's
you, but
like-
at the same time, I think it's
I mean, I don't wanna
it's more
pry.
often than not, most of us are going through that. Most of us are just, I mean, it's kind of why that works. We do want to talk about ourselves more than anything, and we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
involved in that. So
so it's like finding that balance.
yeah, and I think it's a hard thing to do. I just think everybody's somewhere on the spectrum with that.
It's extremely important to do, but it is an extremely hard thing to do. And the only reason I started, I worked for a company in Belgium, an optical company, and I would have to go to like these crazy, I had to go to acting class in France one time. It was the funniest thing in the world. It was so weird.
Acting class in
acting
France.
class-
Sounds like a setup to
It
like a
was
stand-up
the
routine.
weirdest thing. It was like this really like strict French lady who is the instructor and everything, and I was like so intimidated, but I was like, man, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of your French ass. But I was also like, dude, this is so weird. I've never been to France before. I'm here. I don't know how to speak French, and I didn't even know how I got this job. I just applied for it like 2 weeks earlier, and they were like, you're going to France. for acting classes. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's just kind of like a general like class to like help you with like conversation blockers and like problems that will arise when it comes to, and like being stronger about having those adult conversations, because you're going to be dealing with owners of the businesses, and these are smaller businesses, but you're going to have to talk about some touchy subjects every now and then, because we need to make sure that we hold the right amount of like stock share in, like, it was an optical company, and we were like an extremely exclusive company, so we would only sell to certain boutiques, like small mom and pop boutiques.
Okay.
Like, we didn't sell online or anything like that. It was just to support the high end eyewear boutiques. This is like higher end than like Gucci. It's stupid, like stuff you don't even know.
How'd you get into this? How did this happen?
I was working.
That's so random compared to
so random.
like
so
from
random.
how I know you. Like
Yeah, I know, dude.
I would never guess that.
I
When you
have
said
a
Belgium, you
weird
just threw me off immediately.
life, man. I have a weird. Oh my god, I have stories.
So how did this all happen? How did you get into this?
So I grew up. My mom and dad got divorced when I was like in 5th grade. My dad died really young, so I had it was basically like just my mom. So she was just a waitress, so she didn't really have tons of money. So, and she raised us Jehovah's Witnesses, so it was like this crazy thing where they were like, no extracurricular education, just trust in God and He'll see you through. And I was like, chill out. Like, that ain't the way the world works. So I was like, man, I want to go to school, like, after I graduated high school. But my mom was like, I can't afford to send you to school. I had no idea how to even apply for anything. This is, again, before the internet. Anything. I just was like, I don't know. And so I was talking to this neighbor of my dad before he died. And she was like, I work at this school where you don't have to pay any money and you can learn a trade. It's like a trade school thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went and checked it out. It was like in the craziest hood, like right on, like down, like North Saginaw or North Martin Luther King. I couldn't even drive. I couldn't even park my car there when I went to school there, because they were too nervous that my car would get stolen. So I would have to I would have to park my car in Kmart in Beecher and take a bus to the place. But I found there was an optical program, like a dispensing optician program.
Okay.
So it basically taught you how to make glasses. And I was like, that's the weirdest thing. I didn't know. I guess there's people who make glasses. That's crazy. And sounds kind of cool. I mean, I like the whole idea of like, man, I'll be Benjamin Franklin, dude. That'd be cool. I'll be the modern day Benjamin Franklin. Like, I'm gonna. Like,
you're going into it with aspirations.
yeah, man. I was like, man, I want to learn about the physics of how lenses work and how sight works and how the eyes work and all that kind of stuff. And so I did it, and I was pretty serious about it. And so my teacher really liked me, because I was like the one student who was actually serious about it. Because this was kind of like you didn't have to pay anything to go to the school, but it was like a last resort for kids who were gonna go to juvie, or they could go to this school. So there was like a lot of kids who came from out of town, like Muskegon, all over Michigan, and some from like Indiana and Ohio and stuff like that, in Chicago, and they all stayed at the school, and they did their trade school, and it basically, if they like got their hours, then they wouldn't have to go to jail or juvie or whatever, and like they would get off of drugs. It was like, yeah, or like stay out of the streets because you couldn't leave the premises. It was kind of like a weird like juvenile like jail almost. I was like I had to like fight tooth and nail. Like when I went there, they were like, yeah, you can come, but you have to live here. I was like, hell no, I'm not living here. I'm not gonna be. No, I live like 7 miles down the road. I can I have a car. I can drive. Can I still go here? And they were like, no, we don't let like people who live at home come here. And I was like, that's crazy. And then they changed their mind and let me do it. So I was like the first person to get to go to the school and still live at home. But I couldn't park my car in the parking lot because they were afraid it was going to get stolen. So I would have to go to the Kmart in Beecher at 5 o'clock in the morning, take a bus with a bunch of crackheads to North Martin Luther King and go to this school for this optical. But I took it serious, and nobody else did. So my teacher really liked me, and I learned the shit out of it. Like, I learned how to cut lenses. I learned the whole idea of... I learned the theories and anatomy of the eye, physics of how lenses bend light, and how light transmits through our eye and sends signals to our brains and all that stuff. I learned all of that. Then I learned how to, like, fix glasses, repair glasses, cut lenses, generate like the curvature in the actual piece of glass to bend the light properly to provide the prescription that the doctor requested, kind of thing. And so my teacher was like, yo, you need to go work for the shop in Ann Arbor. It's my friend's brother. He's looking for an optician, and you can do it. And I was like, I can do it. I learned all of it. Yeah, I did. I learned it all, man. I didn't learn it all. I didn't learn like the smarts part of it, but I ended up working at this optical shop in Ann Arbor, downtown for like 10 years. And it was like a higher end optical shop. And they carried like some pretty, like, in the optical industry, there's like this conglomerate company called Exotica, who basically, like, all they do is basically buy, like, they'll buy like the name Dolce & Gabbana, they'll buy the name Prada, they'll buy the name Coach, they'll buy blah blah blah, and then they'll buy the rights to the logo and just slap it on a pair of like 10-cent frames that were made in China. And so, like, the quality is really shitty, but they buy all the name brands that people love, like the general public.
How did they get away with that?
Just negotiations, contracts, and money.
Okay.
But they became like the major conglomerate. There's like 3 of them in the optical industry. So they're like, in the optical industry, there was like this other group of people that were like, fuck that noise. We're gonna make eyewear that's like handmade, way cooler, way artsier, way more interesting, way more fashion forward, but way more exclusive to like the real true opticians and like the real true optical shops, boutiques that really celebrate the idea of like fashion, but also function, and like really take pride in the whole idea of lunettes. Like lunettes, it's a weird thing, man. There's like a huge history of it. I mean, it was a pretty big thing for us to be able to see, and then like the fashion side took over it, and they always say, you know, like the first 20 seconds and the first 20 inches of what somebody like that's the first 20 seconds and the first 20 inches is how somebody makes their initial judgment on you.
Yeah,
in any
I was
situation.
taught 10 seconds. That's what I was taught.
So it's like right here.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want a really crappy pair of glasses? Or do you want a pair of glasses that are dope, that make people go, dude, this dude is badass?
Isn't that hilarious? Because the first thing I said to you when I saw you today was, those glasses look nice on you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
That is literally when as I greeted him, that's what I said.
Toned down glasses that I have too. That's the funniest part about it. But anyways, I ended up like working at this crazy higher end optical shop in Ann Arbor, and I became the buyer. So all the reps that would come in and they would show their new product, all these handmade eyewear, all these guys from like France and everywhere around the world. because it was all exclusive. So like with us, we would, if we sold to your boutique, you had to buy a certain amount of frames. You had to properly represent our collection. But if you did it and you sold the frames and you had a good sell through, and the business was going good, then we wouldn't open anyone up else in your city. So like if you were in Chicago, you would be the only optical shop that has this company and this company. Weird, kind of
But that's
risky business.
like you said, the exclusivity factor.
Risky business model, but it really, really worked out. They did it. They were like really bougie about it, and there were like no questions asked. If you're an optical shop that's bunk, no.
I think people would want to get in on that just by the model. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna be the only one in Chicago.
And their whole thing was, and they sold. Like we had I had 96 different accounts throughout the United States, and we were always the two optical companies that I worked for when I became a rep. After working with all these reps who came in, this one rep was like, yo, I'm looking for a rep. I've always really liked you. Would you be interested in this job? And I was like, I don't know, man. And I sent him my resume, and he was like, and so he flew me out to Brooklyn, and he was like this crazy French punk rock dude. I was like, dude, I could work for you. Like, you are awesome. Like, hell yeah. He was like, all right, man, work for me. And I was like, all right, cool. And he's like, all right, by the way, you're going to Paris next week for acting classes.
So that's how it happened. All of that leads to that moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I go to Paris.
All that context really was necessary, too.
It really is.
That is hilarious.
That was a short term. That was a short story.
It's funny how that guy just pops up at the very end, too.
Yeah.
So you just met the guy, and then he tells you that?
No, he was a rep that he would come in and sell his eyewear. Him and his wife, they were like crazy French punk rockers, and they had this brand called Annette Valentin. It was out of South France.
So they had a whole different brand.
Their mom and dad they handmade these frames, and they like built this brand from like the mid 70s.
Okay.
And it was like super fashionable, like Paris, just really beautiful pieces.
Was it
but simple,
a Paris
simple
style
and beautiful, all at the same time.
Was it a Paris style, like a style you'd see in Paris, or was it?
Yeah. They had two flagship stores, only two stores in France. One in Toulouse, South France, and then one in Paris.
Okay.
And all they sold was just their eyewear. They didn't sell anybody else's eyewear. And so they were like bougie. Like, nah, man, I was better. And it was like French. It was like French. French people are like that. Like they're like, we're better than everyone.
Yeah.
They're super cocky and confident and awesome, but they're super charismatic and great people, lovely people. Give the shirt off your back. They're back for you, but also just like, if you don't want our shit, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like they would tell me like, don't sell it. Like the hardest part of the job was
I think Italians are kind of the same way too.
A lot of Europeans are like that. I mean, especially if you're getting into exclusive stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and the other company I worked for was out of Antwerp, Belgium, and they were called Teo Eyewear, and the main distributor was out of Brooklyn. It was like the United States distributor for Teo Eyewear, and Annette Valentin was in Brooklyn. And I was the Southeast United States rep for them. Ambassador. As the Southeast United States ambassador.
Sounds cooler that way.
I know. I would always say I'm the rep. And they're like, no, you're not the rep, dude. You're the ambassador.
Oh, I'm glad they knew that. Yeah, it sounds
they were
so
like-
much more
they like-
professional. It
yeah,
sounds
they
like you're like
gassed me.
official, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they were really good about gassing you up. Like, yo, dude, like rep it, dude.
Well, yeah, because they're like, they're down, bro.
Yeah. They weren't backing down, man. They went through it to build their company. So they were like, fuck that. Like, don't take shit from anybody. So we were kind of like the punk rock, like optical company.
That's cool.
And it was really, really cool. I got to go to so many places. I got to travel a shit ton and go to a lot of really fun parties and meet a shit ton of people. And really, I got to go to Milan and Paris and Belgium, like 3 times a year, and obviously New York, and go to Las Vegas every year, which was annoying. But
What made that annoying? What was annoying about
Vegas? Make
Vegas?
fun of it because it's just like the most like unauthentic city in the world. It's just so plastic.
I've heard a
But
comedian
it was
say like it's
fun.
crazy to him like
Going with a bunch of French
nobody
dudes.
he made the joke that nobody grows up in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because it's like just imagine growing up there. Like, you're
Yeah,
right. It's
like
the
just like a
fakest city
pl-
ever.
Yeah, it's like everything is so overprocessed and dumb and so big and plastic. It's like,
Yeah.
So like,
It's the most
so
one
it
of the
was
most American things I've ever seen.
yeah,
Though.
absolutely. So going with like a group of 10 French dudes
Yeah.
that are
Oh,
already
yeah.
super fucking confident and ego inflated and being the one American.
I can
Dude.
see that. I can see that.
Oh, funniest shit in the world, dude. I just sit back and giggle, dude. I'd be like, you motherfuckers are they just hating. Just
Yeah,
hating, just
and the
talking,
thing is,
just
like, you
seething
can't
in
even
French.
disagree. They just see it from
Like,
those different eyes.
I can't speak French. I mean, I learned like a lot of swear words, like oh putain, and like I like the basics, but I don't know French. So I'm just like watching these guys like the whole time working with them, just like fucking seething and just laughing and just making stupid Americans. just this place.
So do they even speak English?
Yeah, they did, but you know, for the like French people or European people, this was my situation.
Okay.
Whenever I was with the whole crew, which was about 10 French people, and me, so I was one American, and everybody would always be like, "You man, how does it feel to be the coolest American to be able to work for this French company?" And I was like, "Man, I tricked them," but. They would talk, like my boss would be like, everybody, speak in English, speak English. Seth doesn't speak French. And everybody was like, oh, sorry. And they'd start talking in English, and then like 3 minutes later, everybody be back to speaking in French for like 3 hours. And I'd just sit there and just like laugh because I didn't know what they were saying, but it was just their laughs were so intoxicating.
Whole
And
lot
they're
of
like,
nonverbal communication
yes,
there.
a lot of nonverbal communication. And it's just funny to watch, and it would give me the amount, or it would give me the flexibility to just kind of do what I wanted to do, explore, meet people, and
There's something interesting about that, just acceptance of not understanding, too.
yeah, it was like, I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. I'll be back. I just went and I met this person. They were teaching me how to say, "Can I have a cigarette?" in French. You know?
And that was a good
It
time.
was like, sorry, about 20 minutes went by, but here I am. Glad you found me. But yeah, it was a really cool experience.
Did you have trouble with that in general while you were in those different areas, just with language and the barrier that would present?
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it wasn't troublesome. It was extremely interesting, though. It was
I worry about that, about traveling to foreign countries.
Yeah, it was weird. The weirdest thing was having an accent. That was weird.
Oh, because it's a giveaway.
Yeah,
And everybody else sounds
But some
different.
people would be like, "I love your accent." And I'm like, "Really? Like my accent?"
I would too.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, "Really? What the fuck are you talking about? I don't have an accent." Oh wait, yeah, I do. I guess I do. Like you probably don't hear anybody talk like this very much.
Isn't that weird? Because as Americans, we just think we talk clear. We just think this is like the
yeah,
normal.
This is the only way to talk.
Yeah.
So I was like, I never really thought about it too much. I never would have thought would ever hear those words come out of a beautiful French woman's mouth.
Dude, what blows my mind about that too, even is like that extends just within our country. Like you go to the South and they all sound different. You go to
changed
like,
my life, dude.
Yeah, it
To
really.
realize how small of a fish I am in the global scheme of things. We look at this life and we think this is it. Just go overseas.
Wow.
Your whole perspective will change 1,000%. And you're right. You can see it in the United States. If you're traveling, you know, everybody's kind of got their nuances, you know. Boston's got their style. New York's got their style. Southern people got their style. Us Michiganders are the fucking OGs. West Coast people have their shit. And yeah, I mean, and that's just the United States. Now, I mean, we have a huge world out there. We always got to remember, and it's like, it's hard to like really grasp that because we just get so caught up in our day-to-day life. And this is it. Because
Yeah.
this really is it. I mean, it really is. But when you get put into that situation where you see it, and you don't have really a choice because you applied for the job and you got hired, so you can't back out now. You just gotta go with the flow. And as scary as it freaking is to do it, and I was doing it all alone, I was like, I have no fudging clue what I am doing. Like, but I gotta what? I gotta fly to Paris, and then I gotta take a train from Paris to Brussels, and then I gotta take another train to Antwerp, Belgium, and how do I even do that? Like, I gotta fly alone. I've never flown internationally, so I was like, dude, this is gonna be weird, and it was scary and hard and weird. I mean, there was times where I was like, I have no clue. And working for French people, they're like so laid back, but also that's sometimes a little bit of a problem because they wouldn't give you the proper details. Like you like kind of like went in a little blind sometimes, or like they'd be like getting drunk watching a soccer game during, like the cup tournaments or whatever, but that's the culture. I mean, it's like super laid back. It's not like Google Calendar, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, but it's like, know it, figure it out. We did, you can. And it put me in a lot of places where I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. Like, I remember going to Paris the first time. They gave me an address. It was Rue 47 1632. There will be this lady meeting you at a gate, and I got out of the cab on a street that I had no idea. I was like, I think this is like the place before cell phones. But it was like super, super high end retail shops and shit. And I can't find a fudging apartment or a place. I don't even know where I'm gonna stay. I'm like thinking to myself, I'm gonna just stay in a little box. I don't care. I'm going to Paris. Like, cool. And like I couldn't find anything. And I would like ask people, and no English, like all that stuff. Then people would just look at me like I was crazy because I had my suitcase and shit. I'm like, I have no idea where the fuck to go. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm in Paris. I'm lost in Paris. Alone. This is great. I'm literally lost in Paris. I think I'm in the right place, but I have no idea, and I don't know how to even figure out how to know if I'm not in the right place or if I am in the right place. And if I'm not in the right place, where do I go next?
Right.
What do I do? I don't know even east from west. I don't know north from south. This is like, I don't even know how to speak the language. I don't know where the highway is.
And I remember I can't remember where I learned this. I think I took a philosophy class for a short amount of time, and I learned about culture shock. And there's so many different ways to experience it, but one of the best ways is to just get dropped into a foreign country. Because, I mean, that's culture shock right there. I mean, everything is so foreign to you. It's like you're on a different planet.
And everything worked out.
Yeah.
It was chaos. It was scary. But like right when I thought it was like completely lost hope and was about ready to fucking die of a panic attack.
Well, yeah, dude. Because you're by yourself, too. It's not like you got anybody from your family that you can call.
Oh my God, I'm about to break down and cry. Boom, man, don't cry. Be strong, Seth. You'll get through this. Somehow they'll come find you.
Is that the voice in your head?
Yeah, that's the voice in my head. Then, like, some lady would be like, are you Seth? Oh, sorry, I'm late. You can come this way, and then take me to my hotel. And then it'd be this really nice hotel. Or like a house, like on the countryside, or right in the middle of Paris. This is the craziest thing in the world. Like, I get to just hang out here with all these people that I never met. I don't even know their culture. I don't know how to order food. I don't know how to speak language. I don't know. So I just got to figure it out. And it was fun. I mean, it was scary, but it was also extremely fun. But the language barrier was very interesting because the one thing that I noticed was tone of voice. Because the first day I went to Paris, when I finally got to this dang house that they got us, I had to stay there for 7 days with this guy from Paris who doesn't speak any English and that I've never met before. So I got to stay there with him for 7 days in a house. And I was like, I don't really like meeting new people. This is going to be so weird. This is going to suck. So I'm expecting the worst. And it turned out like we became like best friends. In the long run, he's like one of my brothers, and I have like 20 dudes at any day if I went to Paris now. Like I could stay at their house and they would have me as long as I wanted.
You miss every
free.
shot you don't take, folks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you build up these things in your brain, like something's gonna go bad, and then you just
Yeah.
You just
And
imagine
sometimes
if
they
you would
do.
just imagine if you would have heard that and then decided, no,
But
I'm
you're
not
not
gonna go.
gonna die.
I'm not gonna live with
Yeah.
another guy that I've never
Yeah.
met. It's a good thing you took that. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
we became
you
really
developed all these relationships.
amazing friends. But the one thing that was weird, he learned English really, really, really quick.
Oh, really?
Like it was I was like, dude, hats off. I could never learn a language as fast as you did. He was really good. He was like starting to even like get it down before he even got to me. But he was like, I've been learning by watching subtitles in movies.
I heard
English
about that.
subtitles
I heard
and
people
stuff.
do that now.
Yeah,
With
and,
Netflix, they'll even just turn the subtitles on, and
Yeah,
I didn't think of. I've never thought about
apparently,
that
like
before.
that like helped him a lot.
Well, I just wonder how, because to me, I've always I've always
I would
struggled
have
with
to
learning
just be
languages.
immersed, but and he was still like really broken English for sure.
Yeah.
But we had enough ability to communicate to realize we felt each other. Like he was a DJ, we liked a lot of the same music, appreciated a lot of the same art. Obviously, we were working for the same company, respected each other's style, and just general, we're here. And he was a brand new rep too at the time. And we were both like, hey, we made it. We did it. Here we are. So it was like mad respect as far as that goes. But he didn't understand my tones, like when I was being sarcastic. That's one thing I had to like really figure out. I had to be really careful with that. Like,
Well,
if I was
British
like,
humor's dry.
Motherfucker, chill out. He wouldn't understand that I was like, motherfucker, chill out. Like, come on. Like, he would think that I was calling him a motherfucker and telling him to chill out. He, like, didn't understand the fluctuation type shit. And I was like, dude, no, I'm not trying to be a jerk, dude. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying, like, that's, like, it's slang, but I get it. Like, I don't understand your guys' slang. I don't understand your fluctuations and shit. Because there's a lot of that. In any language, there's that.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the hardest thing with any language, and like the lost in translation process in the beginning is just understanding the difference between suck a dick or suck a motherfucking dick. You know, like like shut up.
Yeah.
You know, or shut up. You know, like that. It's like it's just one of those things where, again, it goes back to your whole body language and everything, but that's extremely hard to lose in translation. I mean, you can learn all the adjectives, the nouns, the verbs, blah, 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 all the way the sentence structures and how it works and everything like that, but the culture. You meet a motherfucking hip-hop dude from Paris who's just, like, spitting like he's, like, from Brooklyn, you know? Like, yo, Donnie, chillin'. How you living, kid? I bet. Good deal. Yo, flat out. Stay up, homie. Like, what the fuck did that motherfucker just say? Like, to somebody, those words don't go together,
Yeah.
but you understand it if you're in the culture, you know? But if you're immersed in it, and it was the same with me, too. Like, people would be really, I was like, you guys are making fun of me, aren't you? You know, like, and I started learning some French words, but I was like, I get what you're saying, but are you guys being serious, or are you guys just fucking with me? Like, I don't know. I don't really know. I can't tell.
Yeah.
You know?
Just like how they would with you, because
Yeah.
they don't know the American
exactly.
version of sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I gotta imagine a lot of that is just cultural. It all just stems from like the way they behave.
1,000%, yeah. And who you're around, who you came up with.
Yeah.
You know, where you're at. I mean, it's like this. It's like that in America. I mean, think about how much of a bigger scale it is.
That's why
when
it's
you
so
go.
strange when you go all the way
Yeah,
south and it's
exactly.
different, just because it's still technically the same country.
Yeah.
Over there, it's so much smaller
Yes,
for each country.
exactly. Yeah, that's another thing too. I mean, that's the craziest thing.
Like
It's
America's a lot of countries in one when you kind of think about it. I mean,
know.
it's not the same here as
That's
it
why
is
I
in a
was
lot
like
of
my
other
main
parts.
argument with them. I was like, you guys chill out. You guys are covering more territory, but Texas is like the size of Europe, bro.
Yeah.
So that's one state that we have. So I'm gonna need you to calm down and realize that I got to drive from Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. I get it. You don't understand how far it is from Baltimore, Maryland to Texas, and then you get to Texas and it says, "Welcome to Texas, San Antonio, 999 miles." Like, what? Like, okay, cool. I made it to Texas. I got 1,000 more miles to go.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
How long would that take to drive? Do you know?
Shucks, man.
1,000 miles?
Luckily,
I think it would be like 12,
really dead roads, so you
10
could
or
drive
12
fast.
hours, right?
Yeah, it was like 10.
my guess.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were driving responsible and not
It's a long time. You've entered Texas, you still got 10 hours to drive.
There's really not a whole lot to see once you get out of like Houston or the big city like Dallas, Houston. It's basically just fields and oil places, and it's like weird like Luckies and Whataburgers, you know, and like a lot of rednecks and nothing, really nothing. You don't even see like even like traffic. There's no traffic really much. Yeah, it's just like really dead. It's like, you know, like a lot of places, but just such a long span. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still in Texas.
We've been in Texas for days. I've been
I'm gonna die in
driving. I
Texas.
can't feel my
I wanna
arms
die in
anymore.
Texas. I don't want to die in Texas.
I don't want to die here. Too many cacti. Bruh. I've never been to Texas.
No?
Sadly.
You ever been out of the country?
No. Well, I've been on an
Canada?
island that was half Canada and half America. That's as
Oh,
close as
word.
I've gotten.
Okay.
And I mean like an island. Like
Like an
it was a
island?
novelty type of thing where they just like it's on the border, so they call
Oh,
it.
you like? Did you go to Niagara Falls or something?
No, I'm talking literally just a tiny little island. Like my mom had a boyfriend at the time who
Oh,
had a
really?
boat, and so we went over
Nice.
there.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
But I was so little, I barely
Yeah.
remember it. So, like, that's as close as I've gotten. I mean...
Have you been
Oh,
around
and
it?
I've been in Detroit, and I've looked at Canada.
Have you been to a lot of places in the U.S.?
Dude, not really. And, like, it's something that I feel like... I don't know. I know I need to explore more, but at the same time, I like the way things are going so far.
That's rad, dude. I've been everywhere, dude, and Flint is my favorite place. In this
Really?
world. I mean, if I lived anywhere else, I'd probably be New Orleans. But
Okay.
I like Flint. Flint's rad. I mean, I've lived in a lot of places. I've been everywhere, and I don't really feel like there's anybody more real than the people in Flint, Michigan people. They're just genuinely real. Whether it's good or bad, it's just real.
Now, do you think that's a Midwest thing, or do you think
I
it's...
think it might be more of a Midwest thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know that, like, if you go to, I'm sure that if you go to, like, Somerset Mall, there's going to be a lot less real people. I don't know. Flint just feels real.
Yeah.
It's kind of maybe like the downtroddenness and the DIY kind of, like, spirit that people have around here.
I think it kind of... a reality
It's
comes
like,
from...
we got to make it better.
Exactly.
And even though we're the hood, we're gonna look out for you. And no matter, I mean, I feel like people. I mean, there's some knuckleheads, of course, always gonna be
There's knuckleheads everywhere.
everywhere, But for the most part, like, I've had some gangsters, like, roll by and be like, "Yo, hood's looking out for you." I'm like, "Respect, hood likes me." Crazy ass white boy. Which is cool, man. I mean, I feel comfortable, but I'm, respectful too. I'm not like getting in people's business and shit. I know the ways of the street, which I think a lot of people do who have moved here or who live here, who have lived here for a long time. Just like nobody's better than anyone else. There's not a lot of like pretentiousness. I've seen a lot of that in my travels. You get a lot of it.
That's one reason I'm scared to go to LA. LA seems like the epitome of that.
Oh my God, I've heard. I've never been to LA
Oh.
because I've avoided it like a plague. I just don't. California. What are you going to LA?
No, my mom recently offered to take me. She went. It already happened, but she was going to. I believe I can't remember where the exact location was, but it was inland in California.
You
probably
should
by a
just
few
go to
hours.
experience it though. I mean, because I bet it'd be like a cool experience.
Oh yeah, but that's why I want to travel a little bit more, just because to see the
Yeah, just go
contrast
some
of
other
everything.
places.
Yeah, just to see the difference in culture. I mean,
New Orleans
I was
is
gonna
awesome.
also say that
You would love New Orleans if you've never been
think
there.
so?
Yeah, you'd fit in perfect.
Why is that?
It's just a good. This guy told me that New Orleans is like a big black lady. It'll either grab you, hug you, and bring you in, or it'll spit you the fuck out. And that's exactly it, man. If you're real, that fucking city will take care of you, and the people will be there for you. But if you're not, it'll spit you the fuck out. And it's beautiful because it kind of cuts down on the bullshit. You get a lot of real people, like similar to Flint, you know. A lot of really funny. I met a lot of really interesting people in New Orleans. I spent a lot of time there working, and I ended up one of my clients was this crazy old dude who was actually Hunter S. Thompson's next door neighbor in Aspen. I got some pretty funny stories about that if you want to hear them.
Yeah,
I got a really
we want to
good
hear
one.
those stories.
I got a really good one about that. But he, like, when I first went there, we just, like, clicked. He was a crazy dude. He was an Olympic downhill skier. He grew up in Aspen, and Hunter S. Thompson was his next door neighbor. And Hunter S. Thompson, and they grew up, and he was older. He was, like 65. But he was, like, he toured with Neil Young, played bass. So, like, whenever I'd go there, he owned an optical shop called Art and Eyes, and they'd have, like, there was a boutique on Magazine Street, and they'd have, like, skeletons and, like, voodoo dolls, like, everywhere and stuff on their window displays. So they were, like, artsy and fun and eccentric, very eccentric. And Paul Wilcox, he was, like, he played bass with Neil Young, and he was an Olympic downhill skier, and he was childhood next door neighbor, and best friends with Hunter S. Thompson. So, needless to say, an extremely interesting, well-traveled man, and who went through a lot of very crazy situations. And he would, like, every time I'd come to New Orleans, yeah, he'd, like, always, like, smoke me out, like, have, like, 2 joints. He'd be like, yo, come listen to me play bass. And I'd just, like, sit on his bed and smoke a J and just watch him play bass. I'm learning how to play this song. Yeah, I just got this new bass guitar and some rig that... Tell me all the weird schematics about it that were, like, so beyond my knowledge. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but that's awesome. And it sounds really good. But he, like, took me kind of under his wing and introduced me to all these, like, really crazy people. I met, like, a bunch of people who were, like, really rich, but they were, like, New Orleans is a weird place because you can be homeless and be comfortable. They were, like, homeless, like, by choice. Like, they had money.
How would you be comfortable? In what way?
It's, like, very, like, open. Like, people, like, if you've been there for a long time and you've grown up there, it's like our door is open if you're a local. Or if you're a good person, if you're with the local, our door's open. And they have washers and dryers, and they're 24-hour bars. So that makes a big difference. And showers in some of them, too. So, and it's, like, pretty nice weather all the way around, all the year round, and it's, like, everybody's there. So you can always couch surf somewhere. Like every single time I've went to New Orleans, I've always got a hotel. And I think I've stayed at my hotel like 5 times out of like the 50 times that I went there, because it would always end up just being like hanging out at somebody's house and a group of people be like, yo, come back to our house. We're having a barbecue. We'll make some jambalaya. Gonna make a bunch of crawdad boiled. Just crash in somebody's house on their couch and wake up and be like, see you guys later. And go do my thing, you know? And so it's like, yeah, very much like that. So it was very interesting, that whole aspect of it. But, yeah, New Orleans is awesome. If you ever get a chance, go.
What other things do they have going on there? Like, what are some activities one would do in New Orleans? If I were to go, what could I look forward to?
Jazz Fest is a huge thing.
When is that?
It's yearly. I think it's like, March or like spring, early spring is obviously Mardi Gras. Yeah,
That's the one.
yeah. But like the whole area, it's like New York. It like never sleeps. The energy is just like always like breathes. The
Yeah.
city breathes. You know.
And it sounds
it's
positive. It sounds like a
it's
positive
yeah,
environment.
It's down south New York, so it's like not so like jaded New Yorkers are like, ugh, fuck the world. There's too many people in this world. We don't talk to anybody. Nobody's fucking anymore. Fuck New York. We hate everyone. Which I get it. I hate New York. No, thank you. New Orleans is like got the pulse and the energy of like a place like New York or San Francisco, but it's still very sexy, a little dangerous, a little something sinister to it, but also like fam, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like that's kind of how I feel about my love for Flint. You know, I don't feel real if I don't have like a little bit of urban decay, like a little bit of chaos. Like if it's too nice of a place, like nah, dude, this sucks.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of. I want to see a domestic dispute. And just
I want to
giggle.
step outside of my house and I want to see something go down. If I don't, then am I really living?
Yeah,
Is it really
exactly.
happening?
Is it really happening?
I mean, like, I
It's
feel
really,
like
for real though. I mean, like I've been in places where I've lived where I'm like, is this really happening? Or
yeah,
am I in a simulation? Like this is stupid. Like, you guys
yeah.
are all boring. Like we're talking about this again.
See, okay, so this is what I was gonna say too. Is the two places that I've really been to are Florida and Chicago. And Florida, I haven't been there in so long. I guess I've been in like a couple select places. Like
you
I
just
think
fell in love with recently with Chicago, right?
so.
You
This
gonna
is where
move?
we're headed. You got me. You already know where I'm going. But Rocky Mountains too. I think I was there Smoky Mountains. I was there a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yes, Chicago. I've been there so many times recently.
Yeah.
Probably like within the last 2 years.
Didn't you
I think
record-
I've went
did you
like
record a video
4
there?
or 5 times. I've recorded 2 videos
Videos
there
there? Nice.
so far, and I've got another one on the way, folks.
That's what's up.
Keep an eye out.
Ew.
Practically magic. I did it just for practice. I pushed what I preach, a pity to put it past this.
Don't think about it like a W.
But yes, so that is on the way. And yeah, I just find it to be, every time I go there,
The energy.
it makes me feel like there's more life happening there than
Yeah.
what I'm used to here. I just
Yep.
feel like more surrounded by things.
I feel you.
And I don't know, I know that's not for everybody. I know there's plenty of people who
It's
would
good.
not be attracted to that
It's
at
good
all.
when you're young.
Yeah.
And you got that hunger and you're ready to do it and you haven't been to many places.
Yeah.
Do it. Experience it. It's 1000%. But sometimes it can get, I mean, for some people it's just not, like for me personally, like I lived in Houston for a little while, Houston, Texas, and Chicago and Houston are like the 2 most highly populated cities in the United States. Chicago, I think, is like number 1 and Houston is number 2. So many people. Everything takes so long. Everything. Like we can go to Kroger's and get through a line in like 5 minutes, and probably still be annoyed because it took 5 minutes. Or like go to Taco Bell and it'll be like, man, I had to wait 8 minutes to get these tacos, man. There were like 40 people in a Taco Bell line in Houston, like, and everywhere. It's just so hard, and like the expressways are like 8 lanes wide. There's just so many people driving the same way and just so much.
Yeah, the traffic's insane.
Traffic's insane and so much potential for error.
Oh, that's a great way to describe it too, because it's like magnify what you have now to like 200 times that.
500 times that.
Because, I mean, one thing, I went with some friends recently who had never really been outside of Flint even, right? And they're there, and they were so, they were very surprised by how often they were hearing sirens.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're downtown, you hear sirens during the daytime on a sunny day or a warm day, probably every 20 minutes, maybe 30.
About 10 times the capita per people in Chicago than... I don't know exactly.
Well, I've tried to do the math. I
haven't looked at this.
I actually think I don't think the population density is as crazy as other places with Chicago, but I think it's just that like it depends on what area you're in and all. Like when you're downtown, it feels dense.
I know Chicago they have a really well planned out infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it probably works well for the population. Houston,
That's what I've heard. I've heard Houston's a lot.
Built on top of buildings and everything's bigger in Texas. Just do it.
So
don't think about it.
Is that what it is? It's just kind of sloppily put together.
Sloppily put together. It's like one thing leads to another, and you're like, what? How?
And what? Like when you're driving around, everything is. In what ways?
Horrible. Like the streets are. You think Flint streets are? I mean, Flint streets are pretty bad, but dude, sidewalks freaking insane. Like I've never seen sidewalk. I was like, how in the world do sidewalks get this bad? Like, the weather's not even really... There's no winter in Houston.
What is it that makes the sidewalk? Are they just destroyed?
What do you mean? There must be like some kind of like land rise up or something. They're like so insane. There's like... Destroyed, yeah.
They're uneven?
Uneven, like just jacked up. Like,
so you have to watch your step.
But a lot of where, like, I lived, like, in the downtown area, and, I mean, like, a big part. But Houston's freaking huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, I'm sure in other areas, those sidewalks were just fine. But, like, it just, the expressways were insane. Like, they backed up all the time because everything just bottlenecked. It was like spaghetti junction type stuff where it's just like everything goes into everything. And then, like, like every road has 4 lanes or like 5 lanes or like 6 lanes instead of 4 lanes. You know, like, it's not enough to just have 4 lanes. Everything's got to be bigger in Texas. We're going to have 6.
And so you can never get over.
You never get over. Like, people can't see you. Like, people are pulling out in front of each other all the time.
Dear God.
You're just constantly, like, on defense. You can't enjoy anything. Like, I wouldn't even drive, dog. Luckily, I lived, like, about a mile from my work, so I just walked to work, dude. And I lived in a pretty cool area, so I could walk to, like, get food, go to the grocery store. There was a skateboard shop down the street from my house. A couple of bars that I went to. I was good, man. I could walk everywhere I wanted to go, dude.
Well, let me say, even with Chicago having the better infrastructure, I wouldn't want to bring a car there because I've seen the traffic. I'd rather
I had
walk.
a car. I think I drove it like... I gave it to my friend. I was like, here, you can have it, dude. I don't even want it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, it was just wild. I was like, no, I'm good. Driving here is stupid. And then parking is another thing. Like, if you wanted to go somewhere, you couldn't just park for free. Like, it was always $8 for parking and no parking lot available.
Everywhere you go.
There's so many people. Yeah. Everywhere you go, yeah. Or, like, at least $3.
But it becomes something you have to budget into what you're...
Yeah, and also think about and, like, do you even want to deal with that if you can just walk and, like...
Now, do they have good enough public transport if you used a bus?
The public transportation was pretty good. Yeah, that is one thing I can say about.
Because that's a big part of it.
But it's just so big.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to... I was only there for like 2 years, so that was like really intimidating for me. And like I said, I lived like in a pretty centralized area where I could just be cool. It was like, but when I would have to like go to like Lowe's or go to IKEA or something to pick something up or go pick up a friend at the airport, I'd be like, I'm gonna die today. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die. This is it. Fuck it. All right.
And Ubers didn't exist back then.
I don't have any say in this. God willing, I'll make it there. Or not.
Kids don't know now. They can just call an Uber on their phone, man.
Yeah.
Like you had to go
chaos.
through that back then. Like if you had a friend and they needed to get picked up, there's no other
You would,
choice.
like MapQuest it.
Uh-huh.
You can print out a bunch of pieces of paper. You're like trying to read them and shit. Like they're
Not only that, you're dealing with the crazy traffic on your way.
Like, what is going on?
Bro. Oh no.
Let's hope we find each other.
I bet it was a learning
But
experience.
it was, yeah. But I realized after I went to Houston that I like the city, but I don't like that big of a city. I do enjoy the energy of a city, though, and I love New York. Going there for like 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, I'm so ready to go. Like,
Does
get
it
me
drain
out
you?
of this place.
What is it about it?
Yeah, it drains you, and it's sometimes I always say I feel like New York turned into like a bike lane. It's like everything got so like safe and like so gentrified and yuppie-ish, where it's like nobody even talks to each other. Everybody thinks they're cooler than everyone else. There's no good conversation. Everybody's rude because nobody cares, because nobody talks to each other. It's just like consumerism. Just do your thing, which is cool. Like, handle your business. I get that. Keep your head low. Mind your business. Stay in your lane. That's cool. But like when, you don't have any like lifelong friends or like your fam's not there or whatever, and you're just trying to be in a new city or whatever and trying to meet people, it's like, I don't know how. There was this bum by my apartment the other day that was kind of cool. He actually like made eye contact and like waved at me.
I'm gonna go talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe he'll be my friend or something. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do it. Like I loved the whole idea of like the amount of stuff to do in New York and the culture and the like all the different cultures and the melting pot of everything. But it was like everything just seemed so complicated.
Yeah.
It wasn't simple anymore. It's like you go to a pub, you gotta check your coat. You gotta pay $2. Then you gotta make sure you keep your ticket. And then if you don't, and then like just yeah. And then everybody's like on a fast pace. Nobody wants to stay at one place for too long. It's like, why can't we just stay here? Like, what are we doing? We're like chasing the white rabbit. Like, we're going to the next spot. Why? To see the same exact thing as we see right here? Like, good
Just
luck.
because
We're never
an
going to catch
abundance
it.
of things.
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly,
always
'cause
like
it's just
you've never reached the bottom
everything
of
is there.
it.
You're never going to reach the bottom of it. So
Yeah.
it's just like, so nothing's special. It kind of just becomes like all like, yeah.
You kind of lose the moment when you get
Yeah.
lost in the chase of that. Yeah, because it's like
There's
you'd
no
rather
golden leaf there.
Yeah.
There's no cool, like, there used to be, like, OBG, or ABC No Rio, CBGBs, the Upper West Side, Danger, Sex in the Parks, porno shops and shit, peep shows, all that cool seedy shit that made New York, New York. Nothing's there. It's like TJ Maxx's and fucking H&M's.
Yeah, it's got sanitized over the
It's
years.
boring. It's like, what? Okay.
I think that's
And and everybody's like too safe.
Yeah.
They're like, they still think it's dangerous. So like everybody's like over cautious. And it's like, so like the police or like bouncers are like really like nervous. They're like, I didn't even do anything and I got in trouble. Like, what the fuck? I think I got more in trouble in New York than I've ever gotten trouble anywhere in my life.
really.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm afraid of that happening when I go to Chicago,
never
because
get
I've heard of traffic laws
trouble.
being very, very. I'm on top of. So, but I say that because I imagine it's the same experience in New York. Do you have a lot of traffic?
Like running
traffic stuff?
across the street or something like that, and not using a jaywalk or something. Like just shit that you do in cities. Like, and there's nobody coming. There'll still be some asshole be like, "Yo, motherfucker, no, you got blah, 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 blah." Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, I know who I am. I'm an adult. I know how to cross a road.
It's almost like it's just so many hall monitors everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
So many hall monitors that it's like, okay, all you guys, stop.
They're just killing the
Don't need
vibe,
it.
man.
Yeah, killing the vibe, yo.
Can't have a good time when you
Yeah,
got like you
man.
jaywalk and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're getting treated like it's
Can't
like, bro,
sit,
I'm
man.
crossing the street. There's nobody on the road.
like, chill
Let's be
out.
real here.
Yeah, and it's New York, man. This is supposed to be a punk rock, rad, like dangerous, cutting edge fucking spot.
Yeah.
Where all the cool new shit happens. Now it's just becoming just a cesspool of people who don't know how to like really do anything that's like, I mean, and not everyone, because there is pockets, I'm sure, of some really, really, really inspirational, awesome people there that are doing things, but I don't know if you could ever get as intimate with the community anywhere there as you could at in like smaller cities,
Yeah.
because it's just like so come and go. Like who are you? Like I don't. There's like 4,000 people on my block. Like how the fuck am I supposed to know you? Like, why would I know? Why would I want to know you? Go like you're running for what? 7th Ward? Okay, whatever. Who even cares? Like.
Words mean
I'm
nothing.
I'm worried about my borough, yo. Like, yeah, I'm worried about like my street. It's like nothing matters because it's like so big, and I think that's good in a way because people, rep their spots and everything like that. But I think it's hard for like everybody just kind of stays in their spot. Like the people from Queens don't really go to Brooklyn anymore. The people from Brooklyn really probably don't even go to Harlem anymore. People from Harlem don't go to Bed-Stuy anymore, whatever, like the boroughs. And that used to be the beauty of New York, where you could just, go to Coney Island and gawk at chicks and fucking make trouble, underage drink and smoke weed and shit. Now, probably fucking get put in a fucking penitentiary for it or something. Trying to make a quota.
Yeah, man. I worry. Yeah. I don't know if it's like. I think the culture just kind of heads in that direction.
People are like judging you for being dangerous and a little racy because they're just trying to be too cool and hip.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
Like, focus on yourself.
Yeah, focus on yourself. I'm gonna get weird over here, man.
And that's what's cool. That's cool. That's cool to be in a city and be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself. Yeah. I'm not gonna cause
especially in a city because there's so many other people.
Problems.
Yeah,
I mean,
you want to represent what you are.
And you're really nobody. You're invisible in a way because nobody gives a fuck, and you're never gonna see anybody anymore. So it's like just live in the moment.
Yeah, I was reading. Because I'm telling you, I've been on the Chicago kick for a minute. I got a Reddit. I think I was on the Chicago subreddit, and they were talking about what's your favorite thing about living in Chicago. So it's a bunch of people from there just saying what they like the most. And one person said that they like the just walking and kind of just blending in with this sea of people, and it's just there's something humbling about that.
So
it's kind of the opposite of what
I get it. I get that. I get the whole psychology of that too, and then it works probably for a lot of people. But for me personally, it's like one of those things where I feel like it's like, man, maybe I dream too much about other people, and I think if I lived there, I just keep on, and I think that's what happened in a little bit in Houston, is I just kept on like daydreaming about people and just wondering who they were and just never meeting them and just gone, and it was just a continuous passerbys. You're a ghost.
And it never ends.
I'm a ghost that you just walk through. Like that was it, and it never ends exactly, and it's just like. Maybe you'll say hi to somebody when you hold the door for them at some place that you're never going to be back at. Perry, Texas or something. But that's about it.
I kind of lean towards the whole, like, it's like what you were saying about the main character and secondary character thing. I like the sense of being the secondary character in such a grand narrative. I mean, to me, there's something nice about that, and I feel like, and it's just interesting because you're somebody who's went there in this environment and realized it wasn't for you. I'm hoping I have the opposite reaction. I mean,
I think
it's
you'll love
on
it.
my radar. I'm going to do it.
What I do have about 5 friends from Flint that all moved to Chicago, and they absolutely love it. They've all been there for multiple years, and they wouldn't move back. And I've tried to get them to move back, but they won't. They really like it. So there's something going on there.
It must just be. It's one of the.
It's a good spot. I mean,
one of the best spots near here.
And you still got like you got the water, you got the countryside a little bit, and you're close to home.
You still got that Midwestern energy.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the restroom.
Oh yeah, go for it. Let me sing to you guys while he's gone. Let's think. Let me think of a good song. Mama, ooh, I didn't mean to make you cry, but if I'm not back before this time tomorrow, carry on, as if nothing really matters. What else can I do for you? I know you love me, I know you care. Just shout whenever, and I'll be there. You are my love, you are my heart, and we could never, ever, ever be apart. No, are we an item? Girl, quit playing. Well, we're just friends. What are you saying? Just take another look right in my eye. My first love broke my heart for the first time, and I was like, baby, 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 no. Baby, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 no. Thought you'd always be mine. How does it go? When we were just, I can't remember, guys. How does the Ludacris verse start? Nobody can compare to my baby. Ain't nobody that compared to my baby. Ain't nobody can, baby. Ain't nobody that compared to my baby. Ain't nobody can. Oh my gosh, guys, hold on. Ain't nobody that compared to my baby. Ain't nobody came between us so could ever come above. She had me going crazy. Oh, I was starstruck. She woke me up daily. Don't need no Starbucks. She made my heart bound and skip a beat when I see her in the street and at school on the playground. But I really want to see her on the weekend. You know she got me dazing, cause she was so amazing. But now my heart is breaking, cause I just keep on saying, man, that's a classic, y'all. That's a classic. That's undeniable. If you think that's not a classic, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Some things are just true. Hate to break it to you, but you're wrong. What is up? I was just filling in the empty space. I saw the opportunity. I sang a couple songs for him.
I heard it. So what are you working on now?
Right now, I'm focused on singles. That's what I'm doing lately. It's just singles. I feel like as a smaller artist, it just makes the most sense to not try and focus on a large project and just drop singles and promote the hell out of every single I drop. Yeah. And that's what I was doing with the Rummage video, the one that you saw. We divided like a W, V to V. Yeah. That's just me, because I've realized, like especially with TikTok, that's a big way that a lot of people. It's like, you just grab a clip of a song and then you just make a little tiny music video, and you do that. You can do that over and over and over again.
Do you have anything in mind for a passion project in the future at all? Like,
not
do you have,
sure.
Like something that you're like, man, I'm gonna do a K-pop band.
Somewhat, yes. Because what I've done before, one of my best ideas I think I've had is I dropped a project.
Here we go.
I dropped a project called Constellations Volume 1. Yeah. And the idea is that at the time I was doing this thing where every album started with the word con. Okay. So Con Artist was an album, and then I had Constellations Volume 1. For those that see it on my streaming services, Questions Without Answers, that is a mixtape, that is not an album. Ew. Okay? But that was what I was trying to do at the time, was con. That would be the I don't know if I'm going to carry on, because like that's just such a conceptual thing to do. But
Conceptual albums are cool to do every now and then. Yeah.
well, it's just then I'm putting myself in a box
you
because
got something that's
and
like,
the
do
reason
you have like a passion project, like your ultimate Magnus opus?
well, I'm getting here. I'm getting there. So okay, so we got the cons. We got the con thing I was doing, and that's because Ruse Con, like con artist.
Yeah.
Con artist just goes right with the name.
Do you know magic? Do you know any magic tricks? Wait, we'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there. So, the album's called Constellations, following Con Artist, and it's Constellations Volume 1. And the idea is that the stars are coming together to form a bigger picture. Every song on the album is a feature, like I'm working with someone on every song.
Yeah.
And so Constellations Volume 1, which I have released, has, I think it was around 15 other people on it, and it's just me reaching out to people and having one person, one feature at least, on every track.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, to me, what it illustrates is that when you as one star, in a constellation, you're only one star.
Yeah.
But all of these stars come together and
Makes a
make something
pattern.
bigger than themselves. And to me, that's what collaboration is. That's what working with each other is.
Yeah.
It's this natural thing where we form a constellation and we don't even realize it.
Yep.
It's the magic that's in between us. And I think that that's what projects like that can represent when done correctly.
Yes.
You
It'll
have
make
to
babies
go
if it's
into
done
it
correctly, man.
What's that?
It'll make babies if it's done correctly. It'll make best friends. It'll make worst enemies as well too.
Yeah.
If it's not done correctly. So yeah, it's like one of those things. I love collabing with people.
So Constellations Volume 2. That's the next
That's
big
gonna be
thing.
there, yeah.
Because I've done the first
that's
one.
Your short-term Magnus opus.
Short term, yeah. Because I don't know what the ultimate goal is. I mean, I think, okay, I can tell you. The ultimate goal is to just make a difference in as
Good
many
rocket
people's
shit.
lives as possible. As simple as that.
Yeah,
I just
that's good.
want
That's a good
to
goal.
affect people in a way that is tangible to them.
Yeah.
As many people as I possibly can. And I hope that's in a positive way. But even if it's not, I just hope that they learn something from what my existence provides to them. That's my ultimate goal in life.
That's
and so through my music, through my art, that's still the thing that bleeds through. That's what persists. It's just this constant, I want to inspire something within somebody else.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And when I do, it means the world to me. It reminds me what I do it for.
Yeah.
So
That's perfect, man. That's awesome. And if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
I agree with
you
that.
can always you're always gonna have somebody, but
I think the most powerful,
but
the strongest personalities are the ones that are controversial. They are the ones that have the most haters.
I like that shit, man.
Yeah.
Like if you hating on me, man, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
You should be getting that type of
You
feedback.
should be hating on me because I'm doing it right now, man.
Like,
So, yeah,
in
that's
order to be
awesome.
outside of the box, you have to have
Yeah,
haters.
it's like that's I mean like even like with like actors and stuff like that, like the bad boys of Hollywood. Like it's so hard to work with Val Kilmer, or it's so hard to work with Christian Bale. It's like, motherfucker, yeah, because like it's so hard to work with Jim Carrey. Well, yeah, I mean if you're like a super method actor and you're getting into a character for like, and you're committing to that character, like Andy Kaufman and shit, like you're gonna be hard to work with. And you're just gonna have to deal with it to see the genius that comes out of it once you realize what I just did,
Yeah. And somebody like Jim Carrey's a great example because like there is like so much that goes into somebody like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just grab that off a blank slate. He's got a great mind.
Yeah, he grew. I mean, and he grew into such a freaking amazing, method actor, like that whole Andy Warhol thing.
Well, Andy Kaufman, man, he blows. He's one of the most. He's one of the original inspirations of mine. He'll probably always be one of my biggest inspirations, just because that's what I'm talking about. What I said about wanting to inspire a thought within somebody, wanting to inspire a difference. That's what Andy Kaufman was ultimately about. He didn't care if it was a negative response. He went for the negative response. A lot of the time.
It's just to shake it up. And get people to start, paying attention and, did I get you? Or maybe I didn't get you. Maybe this is the truth. I'm a pathological liar. But I'm an apologetic pathological liar.
Well, it's to the point where if you look it up on YouTube, Andy Kaufman, there's like one video that I can find. I think there might be two, but I think there's two videos out there where it's like, the real Andy Kaufman, and it's just him talking, but it's like the most genuine we've ever seen him on camera, because most people never really met the real Andy Kaufman. That's how in
Sure.
tune he was
Yeah.
with what he was doing.
It was a
It was a heightened personality for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It was a ruse.
Yeah, it was a ruse. And dude, that's really it. Like when people ask me what does ruse mean, I say it's that
It's a trick.
reality is not what it seems.
Exactly.
Nothing is what it seems. Everything's a ruse.
Yeah.
And someone like him highlights that.
Yeah,
he pokes
absolutely.
at the whole concept of
Exactly.
everything
And that's
with what
made
he's
it
doing.
Beautiful. You know, that's what made it beautiful. He proved that it's like if you just stay confident, like fuck you. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what to tell you, man.
If you're convicted in
Yeah,
what
if
you
you're
are.
convicted in what you're doing, yeah, it's like what are you gonna do? I love people who.
He was
are like
definitely
that.
controversial.
But I could only imagine it would be really hard to work with people like that.
Well, I know if it were me in the room with this dude, oh my God, I would appreciate the craft, but I would be like scratching.
crap out of him. And I'd be like, dude, that's the funniest shit in the world. Oh my God. Yes.
And it's also interesting just in the way that it's reminiscent of professional wrestling and the whole concept of heels and playing the bad guy. Like he kind of popularized that in a whole different medium.
Yeah.
Just in real life. He took that idea of being a heel and was
Yeah.
the heel in real life.
Absolutely.
I mean, and he's the first person I could think of to do such a thing.
ever, yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean, even just the stupid, crazy antics are amazing. And anybody that's like that, man, I admire so much because it's like, yeah, man, commit to you.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It gets pretty boring when you're trying to do everyone else. Like, you're trying to do it for everyone else. Like, that gets really mundane and stupid.
And who
Like,
wants
do
to be
you.
everybody else?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
really want to be everybody else? Because if not, then just do you.
Yeah, do you. Like,
Yeah.
I like this guy, Harmony Korine. I don't know if you've ever seen Kids or Gummo.
Yes, I have not seen those movies, but I've heard about them. They're on my list. I think I was exposed to Kids at a young age.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was looking at.
He's a very interesting kid. He's just a very interesting man.
Is he foreign?
No, he's from. I'm not exactly sure where he was born, but I think he was born in like Ohio or Kentucky
really?
or something weird. But he lived in New York for a while. But he had just like a really crazy life, and he's always been like extremely true to himself. And like I'm gonna let my freak flag fly, and I'm gonna do things my way. I don't care what you'd say, and he does, and he's so freaking fascinating. He's like a pathological liar, which is very funny to me because it's like, he's like, life gets so boring. He's like, I like to just go places and just lie to people and just see how far I can get with it and stuff like that. And I'm like, that is so funny to me. Like, that. Yeah, I mean, his brain is just weird, but he makes beautiful art and beautiful movies and stuff. And he's just like one of those very inspirational people to just do you know?
Yeah, it reminds you what people are.
Yeah, it's like, it's possible.
Yeah.
Just be you. Like, three of the funniest interviews on David Letterman are Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
And then the other two are Harmony Korine.
Have you ever seen
They're
Joaquin Phoenix's appearance on David Letterman?
His is the one. It's pretty clear. Those are all up there, pretty good.
It reminds me of Andy Kaufman.
Yeah. Harmony Korine's is different, but it's like awkward. It's like cringy.
Okay.
And Harmony, it's so Harmony is he's like on acid, like tripping balls on acid. I believe is the story that I heard on it before he went, and he's like the second time he went. First time he went, he was like he's just like a super quirky dude, but non-apologetic. And the David Letterman interviews with him are so good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's like, and it's the same thing, like Andy Kaufman. But it's like, that's the thing. I mean, like, if you're going to be a genuine artist, you have to have a little bit of self-integrity and realize that, like, I know what I'm doing. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. I get it. But this is my vision, and I'm going to do it my way. Now, you can do your thing if you want, or if you want to help me, that's cool. If you don't, I'll figure it out. But
I think the more clearly you see your vision, the better.
yeah, exactly. And the more you the more clearly you communicate it to others and stay focused on it, the better, for sure. I think those are very, very pivotal things to create something that's going to be good. So you're going to do it, dude? You're going to do it? You're going to change the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I plan on it.
Yeah, I feel you. I have faith in you, homie.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I feel like I'm getting there. You know, I think I inspired change on a small scale so far.
Yeah, man.
So, you know, and to me, that's what it's all about. I mean, I think that's my goal, just because to me, that's the purpose of life. I mean, what are we doing if not pushing each other in some direction? Yeah. I mean, that's why we interact with each other.
White boys can rap.
What, say again?
We just show them that white boys can rap.
I mean, I'll show them all kinds of things. You go to my OnlyFans, I'll show you something else.
Ah, shit.
But I just feel like we have so much in ourselves and so many people get caught up in anxiety or this idea that they're not unique, they're not special, and just they naturally are, no matter where you are and who you are. There's just something in you that separates you from everything else. And
we were all the fastest swimmer at one time, man.
Yeah.
At one time, we were all the fastest swimmers. So no matter how bad you feel about yourself, realize that you were the fastest swimmer out of a million little sperms. So you're good.
You're a winner.
Yeah, you're a fucking winner.
And also what I like to think about recently, just what I was thinking about, I was going for a walk, and I was thinking, damn, dude, it's crazy that I can even send a signal to my legs and move my legs. Like, I'm not even really thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just doing
That's
it.
Cool, man.
Like, I just had this epiphany as I was going for a walk. Like, the fact that I can even do that is the wildest thing in the world.
I'm not weird.
Like, how do you send a signal to your leg?
What if you didn't have like a nervous system or like a brain stem or spinal cord, or like if that was I mean, then that's a thing. I mean, yeah, it's wild. Yeah,
and we're talking like, and there are people that I bet a select few people who have had like reduced nervous, like people who can't feel certain things. They can't feel heat. That's a thing. You gotta stay away from stoves if you can't feel heat. Yeah. But like, it's just the ultimate miracle of being able to lift my arm up and move it without much effort. Like, I think that in that, there's just something, it's like what we were saying before, there's something so perfect about that present moment that you're able to exist in. So it's like, what's the point of even wanting to care about anybody else's moment? You are that present moment. You don't have anything beyond that. It is what it is.
How many people are in the world right now?
I guess it's 8 million. I'm guessing.
8 million around there?
Billion, I mean. 8 billion.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You're 1 in 8 billion chances that everything came together to make Wyatt.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm 1 in 8 billion chances that everything came together at the right time to create Seth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all that.
And comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. So, yeah, just know that you just own it.
Yeah, own it.
Own the gift.
And I think that's a great way we could wrap this podcast up, is with that sweet little message for the people, right? Is there anything you want them to...
Man, I just appreciate you letting me come through and jibber-jabber with you, man. And I guess I'm playing a show on March 17th, Tenacity. We're doing a compilation album release party, listening party. They're doing a show there, and that's about it. And listen to Pterodactyl Breath. Just Swiss Venue for Seth.
Yeah, how are people going to find your music, too, if they don't know?
It's Just Swiss Venue for Seth, which means it's French for I'm here to see Seth. So it's French for I'm here to see Seth.
And how would they spell that if they're typing it in?
J-E or J-U-I-S. Oh, wait. J-E-S-U-I-S venue, V-E-N-U T-O-I-R-S-E-T-H. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one.
Well, I'm just making sure the folks know.
It's weird because I didn't. It's the first time I ever did a solo project, and I didn't want to just be like, I'm Seth. But I also didn't want to be like, hey, I'm Band-Aid, or like I'm Basketball Fight or something like that. So I was like, I'm I'm here to see Seth. Je suis venu voir Seth.
It sounds mysterious when you don't know the language.
Yeah. And
Whoa.
I like the French. I like the French language. So it's always nice to pay a little homage to that beautiful language. So
That beautiful place.
Yeah, the beautiful place, beautiful people.
Where you once were, apparently.
Yeah.
For the folks that forgot. Yeah, it's true. This man has been all around the globe. Yeah. Yeah, he was probably at your mom's house last night.
I was at your mom's. Yeah.
All
Tuesday.
right. With that, we're wrapping it up. So, thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you,
watching.
Ruth.
If you've watched this whole podcast, we appreciate you more than anything. You're a crazy person. You listened to us for, what, 2.5 hours? What
Hey,
is
I hope
wrong
learned-
with you?
I hope you learned something and maybe agreed with a couple of things. And if not, you can leave them in the comments below or whatever you do.
Yeah, look at him. He knows how this works. Leave it in the comments. Drop a like, drop a subscribe. Make sure you
Drop a
smash that
debate.
bell button.
Yeah, man, we're here. We said we're here to debate.
Yeah. Hey, start a debate in the comments. I will get back to you, okay? How about that? And he has his own YouTube channel. He will be monitoring the comments. We're ready to debate each and every one of you.
I'm the master debater, so.
Yeah, we are the master debaters all day. I could master debate
master
today,
debate all
tomorrow. I can master debate by myself. I can master debate with anybody. I don't even care. So, all right, that's it. Ruse Radio, clocking out.